Friends, fans, and fine folk, grab your snacks and drinks and come on down, as we're about to have a short rest around the campfire with these people. I'm on the wrong side. These people. Hello, people. I'm joined by 6 voices in my head this time, but you also get to see their faces. How's everybody doing? You all well?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, welcome everybody who's joining the stream. I'm joined by 6 wonderful folk. If you don't recognise their faces, it's because you don't watch Deerstalker Pictures One for All, and you should, because then you'd recognise them. Let's go along the line in this top row here, and I'll introduce people, and they can tell you a little about themselves. The voices are real this time, Maria. Yeah, the voices in my head are real people this time. So right next to me here in the wanted posters is Elliot. Elliot, you, I believe, are the director and writer and multiple other roles in the Deerstalker Pictures. You're kind of just the creative showrunner of the whole piece, aren't you?
Yes, I wear a lot of hats. I would mostly put myself down as a wrangler of this lot.
Wrangler is a title I get a lot as well.
It's a full-time job trying to get these guys on set and remembering their lines.
Yeah, and arranging schedules. Are you in charge of scheduling as well?
Partnered kind of with Vinny. Vinny, our first AD, who you will probably meet in 2 people's time.
Well,
He's a scheduler.
Let's get across to Vinny as soon as possible then by ignoring Kendall. No, Kendall, you're next. So Kendall, you may recognise from Deerstalker Pictures as the one who plays Pat Purser, the dungeon master for the crew. Tell us a little about yourself, Kendall.
Nah.
Okay. Vinny, you may not. It pretty much tells you what you need to know.
Yes, I play Patrick, aka the DM, aka multiple NPCs on One for All. And then I sit at home contemplating my life for long hours staring at the ceiling. Nice to be here, Rob.
Just waiting for the next shoot, right? It's all you do in your life.
Yeah.
Moving swiftly along. Next to Kendall, we have Vinny. Vinny, why have people not seen you before? What's your deal? Are you a new member of the cast?
Yes, I'm the new actor for Nixie.
The old actress wasn't doing a good enough job.
No, I mostly exist in the shadows, but like comfortably. I am the producer and first AD of One for All, and I don't know. Elliot's used the word wrangler already, so I guess I wrangle the wrangler.
Co-wrangler.
But otherwise, co-wrangling. Which is actually
starting to sound dirty.
Yeah.
Who wrangles the wranglers?
It's more fun than you think. But yeah, I don't know. I think just mostly doing kind of support stuff to try to make the production go smoothly. But
he's the dad. He's the dad of the show.
Yeah.
We have a problem. We come to him.
If it isn't for a producer and first AD, the show isn't getting made. So, very important job indeed. Then below, down to the second row there. What are you doing, Kendall?
He does this non-stop.
Kendall's just showing his true side.
This is what happens when you invite Kendall on.
He's got one toy and he wants everyone to see it.
Excuse me.
What about
like that 5-year-old that gets that one toy?
What about second toy?
We got another one.
I definitely don't know what you're talking about. I don't have a desk full of toys that I like to show off on stream as well. I don't know.
What have I got? I've got
toys here.
We're not even finished with introductions, and we're doing toy off.
Yeah.
How's this?
Get into the 40k cupboard.
All I've got is a slider and a stone.
Is my green Draco Lich?
Oh,
very nice.
Oh, look at those
nice.
textures.
This has become a show and tell.
I thought that was Games Workshop for a second.
I got you on the pretense that we're going to talk about One for All, and instead I'm actually just going to show you all of my minis.
Hey, you'll see.
Start with the
What else
giant.
you got back there?
Hey, you'll see a peg with Annandale written on it.
Annandale.
Anal-dale? What?
Anal Dale?
That's what pegs are for.
Oh.
Is that a
That's
place?
my OnlyFans account. Okay.
And how far away is it? How can I get there?
Oh my god.
Next, down there.
It's locked down. You're not allowed.
The security into Anal Dale is tighter than a duck's house. Tom, Thomas Fledgling. So people will know you as Antrius, one of the players and cast of One for All. Anything else I need to they should be aware of?
Oh, honestly, I haven't done much else. I did like a personality test the other day. That was about it. If you really want to delve into it,
what did you get?
INFP and a 4 on the Ngram ones, which basically means yeah. Oh, well, yeah. Thanks, man.
Classic INFP.
Myers-Briggs was right about you.
You may as well get a star sign reading as far as Myers-Briggs is concerned. That's all I'm saying.
All right, next to Thomas, we have Eva. Eva, you may know as another one of the cast members of the One for All. Tell us a little bit about you, Eva, and who you play and why people would know you, even outside of Deerstalker.
Yes, I play Evandra, the half-elf fighter in One for All, and also look after the costumes and the socials and basically whatever else that Deerstalker needs me to do. And I also am a burlesque performer outside of One for All.
See, one of the notes that I initially took down was in the seduction of Marquis. When you have the how are you going to assist him in this seduction, and then you've got those huge feathery things that you sort of emerge through. I was like, damn, how did they source those? And then I later heard in an interview with you, you said you were a burlesque performer. I was like, okay,
never mind.
just probably has them.
I don't have minis to show, but I have a lot of feathers around.
Lots of feathers.
So many feathers.
Just part owl.
Part bird, yeah. Damn it.
And finally, but not leastly, of course, we have Fall down in the far corner there. See if I can point the right direction. There we go. Down there in the corner. Fall obviously is the last of the reoccurring concurrent cast members. I'm just inventing. I'm out here inventing words. I'm on the frontier of the English language, guys.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about you, Fall.
I am an ENFP.
No, you're not. No one's any of these.
I'm with you, Ken.
Hypothetical.
Thank you.
I currently am in lockdown, so all I do is sleep. Sometimes I stream, also here on Twitch at Full Cosplay as well. And yeah, I also am Nixie, so sometimes I set fire to things.
And check out Fall's Instagram, Fall Cosplay as well.
Oh yeah, also at Fall Cosplay, also Twitter. But like, I forget Twitter exists most days.
I'm on the most.
Yeah, it's like, hey, Twitter. That's a thing.
To everyone who came here from my Twitter link, hi.
Yeah,
it's me.
Look, my analytics say that from Twitch. Like, most people come from Twitter, and I'm just like, oh, okay.
I should start posting on Twitter more then.
Yeah, I know.
Easier to click a link on Twitch than it is from Instagram.
Unless you have swipe up, baby.
Why would you?
We're not all that famous.
So what are you guys doing on the horizon here? What's something we can be talking about? Maybe something that may be happening over on the Kickstarter.
Oh, we have a complete NDA, dude. We can't talk about anything.
Okay, that's fine with me. Let's talk about me. You've opened it up to me, mate. You've said the wrong words. I love to talk about me. Let's do this.
Yeah.
All right. This is the One for All cast and crew talking to Robert. I have contingencies, Hartley.
That's me. All right. So yeah, you do have a Kickstarter for season 4. If people who haven't seen any of the Deerstalker, how many episodes you got now? You got 3 seasons, and each one has 6 episodes. That's right, yeah.
Yeah, and a special.
And a special. Have I not seen the special? What's the special?
Star Wars Christmas episode.
Yeah, that's right.
What the Ryan cut?
Hey, that's not out yet.
2024.
Release the Ryan cut.
Whoa, there's so many inside jokes. We need to bring
Okay,
Brother
sorry.
Stone. Whoa. Bring it up.
Shut up. It's the Magic the Gathering crossover.
Oh yes, I have seen that one. Yes. Yeah, that was the one that was after the finale of season 3, and then the next week or whatever, I saw it pop up on my YouTube, and I'm like, Wait, what? They 100% said that it was the finale.
That's a very Elliot thing to do, though. Just say it's a finale, and then be
No,
like, and here's
that's what they wanted. We just work with what the client
That's a
says.
wrap.
Here's-
Tomorrow.
here's second finale.
One more take.
Second finale, yeah. We've had one finale, sure. But you should, while you're listening to us in the background of whatever it is you're doing, you definitely need to also open up a tab for Kickstarter and search for One for All, because you are currently having a very successful Kickstarter
Yes.
for season 4. What was
It's
that, Vinny?
been incredible.
Oh, just saying, please. Yes.
Please, yeah. Please.
Rewards,
He was just
please.
pleading.
Money, please.
Needless to say, very successful. Have you met all your stretch goals? You still got stretch goals to go for?
Yeah, I still do, but I mean, like, already we're pretty. I mean, at least to speaking for myself, I'm pretty happy with considering that we're not finding money at all. Like,
Cool.
That's an
Guys, don't
actor
worry about
that
it.
makes the show.
So Vinny says
I-
please, and Fall says, nah, you don't need to.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
I
Kick
kind
some
of
of it back.
agree.
We don't
I
want all
agree
of
with
this.
Paul.
Well,
It's
like,
like
I'll pay the rest. It's fine.
it's like the first goal was to make sure that the episodes can happen, and then everything after them makes them better.
yeah,
so really,
exactly.
my payment falls within that first stretch, which has already been met. So everything on top of this is like supplementary to me.
Oh, excuse me, it's deferred payment until we hit our final stretch goal.
What I was trying to say is the fact that I'm grateful that we've gotten like as much as we have. Anyway, like I think that it's incredible that we've had such amazing support from the community that really just wants to see what we're doing and make it happen. I mean, like it's just like I'm very wary of like crowdfunding stuff because like I'm always scared that it's going to like I don't know. I've always got that like internal fear of just like what if no one gives us any money and it just looks like you know that's the fear. But like the fact that we've had such incredible support is just incredible. So like yeah, of course, let's get more money.
Yeah,
but
more
like
money's
I'm
always
still
better.
happy.
More money's better.
Yeah.
So give us all your money.
The way I would describe the Kickstarter is currently up to $139,205 with 51 hours to go. That's how I would describe it.
That's a pretty accurate way of describing it.
Thank you.
In a percentage of completion, you want to do some maths?
No,
Math.
you're the one.
278%.
You're the one with the maths degree here.
How much was that, Vinny?
278%.
It's 278% funded, and it took only 10 hours, correct, to fully fund it?
To get the
hit
To
first,
get to your initial goal?
yeah, the initial goal. So
And
that
a lot
was
of that
for
was
3
due to Laura's
episodes.
work.
For 3 episodes, and then it's
Yeah.
now since hit the 6
Sorry,
episode
Eva,
mark, hasn't
Eva.
it?
Yes, so 6 episodes, and we are very close to our next stretch goal, which is 150k, which will be for an additional 3 episodes. So
Nice.
nine in total, which
So
is
this first season that's got an extra 3 episodes.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
We're excited.
So that's kind of leading me on to the first thing I wanted to ask you about your episodes and how and sort of your production scenario. Do you film each episode, edit them, get them up, and then do the next episode, or like are you doing them all in blocks and then editing and releasing over months, or?
So what we did first was like 1 episode at a time,
Yeah.
and that really lasted for like the first season
Yeah.
and a half. I think it was only halfway through season 2 where we finally had like, you know, because we were starting out small, we didn't have a lot of like funds. It was all like self-funded, mostly from YouTube dollars, which I'm sure you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we finally got a lot of support, enough support from the community to kind of like go into a block, and we did a block of 3 episodes for season 2.
And then you filmed back to back all 3 episodes.
Yeah.
First 3 episodes rather.
Yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, 3 days of fantasy shoots, and then I think there was 2 days of tabletop shoots.
Right.
With a rehearsal in there somewhere.
Yeah, I thought it was
1?
1.
It was a
I
long
thought it
time
was-
ago, guys.
I feel like it was one and a
No, it was
one and a
one.
half.
It was one.
1.5, I think,
mm,
for end of season
I
thought
think
two.
there was
One
a
and a half.
rehearsal. There was a rehearsal, and then 1 day of shooting tabletop.
Yeah.
Because
think
one
so.
of those 3 episodes was the Nixie special show.
Nixie special show, the one
Yeah.
where she's
The-
dying.
Yeah, we'd
Where I'm old.
Golden Dine
yeah.
with Little Dixie.
Yeah.
Where we met Little
Party.
Dixie.
Yeah, so we'd already done the fantasy for that. So
Adam,
Yeah, we did that ages ago.
Adam from Viva's in the chat as the watcher, and he says YouTube dollars are so amazing.
Yeah,
thank you, YouTube dollars.
Yeah, Viva can definitely survive on YouTube alone. They don't need sponsorships and adverts.
Viva la dollars.
Be nice.
Viva la dollars.
Viva la Dollars League.
That was Thunder, by the way. Anybody in the chat who's like, "What's going on?" Apparently, Auckland's in a pretty serious thunderstorm right now. So you filmed a block of 3, and then you filmed the other 3 in another block for season 2.
We did the first 3 episodes episode by episode, and then for 4 to 6 of season 2, that was our block.
So season 1 and the first half of season 2 was just episode by episode.
Yeah.
And since then, you've been doing them in blocks.
Yeah. So season 3 was when we finally got government funding from Screen, which is a huge milestone for us. We could properly pay everybody actual union industry rates,
not just exposure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of IOUs flying around.
The type of exposure he paid us in is part of the NDA as well, so we can't really go into that.
He paid you in not exposing himself.
Don't take it off.
What?
It's a deferred exposure contract.
Deferred exposure. That's how I know it. So season 3, you filmed them all in one block as well, or
yeah.
3 at a time?
I'm sure everybody here knows how much of a whirlwind that was. 3 weeks.
Most relaxing time of my life.
It's a fever dream.
Yeah, it was the first time we actually sort of did it with pre-production, rehearsals, and then filming.
Right, yeah.
So the big block altogether, which was crazy.
Had you applied for funding from Screen Australia before season 3, or was it the first time you applied?
Not for One for All. We had previously applied for. They do a program called Skip Ahead, which is for YouTubers who are up and coming, and we pitched something else, a talking, cooking alpaca chef.
Oh my goodness!
I'm sorry, you just put a bunch of words together. Is Elliot having a stroke?
It's a seminal word.
It's as good as it sounds.
It is.
Elliot's creative process. He's got a dartboard and
just a wheel of random words of the day.
Roll the dice. See what comes
Word
up.
of the day: toilet paper.
Alpaca
cooking. So
unfortunately, they didn't go for that for some reason. I don't know why.
So give me it again. It was an alpaca cooking show.
Yeah, an alpaca cooking show.
Well, the alpaca was the chef, or it was only meals made out of alpaca meat.
The alpaca was a stuffed purple alpaca chef.
Obviously.
That we puppeteered, yeah. It's called Cooking with Picasso. If anyone wants to watch it, it's really cute.
Is it on Deerstalker Pictures?
It is on Deerstalker, yes. It sounds like I'm taking the piss, but I'm actually really proud of that. It was actually really fun.
It was really good.
It sounds like the sort of fun craziness that you can just go wild with because you don't have people with expectations and you know people who are going, oh well, they've already done a whole series of this thing and I know the style that it's going. You can just be like, this is brand new. I can do whatever I want with it.
Yeah.
I heard the alpaca keeping community was really up in arms about it.
The alpaca, they were like, they don't come in purple.
I'm so conflicted about it though, because it's like what could have been, but also a One for All wouldn't have been around, but we could have had a cooking purple alpaca.
You do have it. I'm looking at it right. Who voiced it?
My friend Jorge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's really good.
He's really good. Everyone check it out.
So you approached.
I don't know how I didn't know it existed before.
So you approached Screen Australia and you said,
"And you've seen Baywatch."
And you
do
said,
your research.
No.
You said to them, "Hey, give us money for this alpaca show," and they were like, "Maybe not." And then you were like, "Maybe D&D instead." Then was that the very next thing that you were like, "Give us money for this instead"?
Well, it was actually because we obviously got rejected, and we were kind of at the drawing board, what do we do next? Oh well, D&D, that's fun. We like that, and we did the first episode, and it did pretty well, not bad.
Is that really how the story went with D&D?
I mean, if you want to elaborate on how the story went, feel free, jump in.
I ran Goldie and Elliot, who are the owners, creators brains behind Deerstalker, a one-shot, which was pretty chaotic, if I remember correctly. And I think that was where you sort of were like, hey, there could be something in this D&D thing.
So this was so. What's the order of events of being introduced to D&D? Who actually came across it first out of all of you? Who's actually played it first?
I might put my hand up there.
Yeah, I think it's you. Yeah.
Thomas has been playing for a while.
How many years, everyone?
I found it in 2015.
Yeah, bring out your credentials. We gotta gatekeep this shit.
Yeah, gotta gatekeep it. You can't even be making content if you haven't been playing D&D since 2nd edition.
Oh boy.
I think I've been playing since 3.5.
Just to talk about myself for a second, because I love doing that. The number of comments on our we've been sort of releasing character by character as like teasers for the upcoming D&D Logic stuff, and the number of people who are like, dwarves can't be wizards. I'm like, what edition have you stopped playing at? They're like, anyone who's played D&D since the 80s can tell you that. I'm like, yeah, and anyone who's played it in the last 7 years can tell you can be whatever you want.
Yeah, what the hell?
A bunch of people have been like, tieflings can't be blue. Tieflings can be whatever colour I want them to be.
Yeah, they can be pink.
Yeah.
Shush, this is my magic world. Go away.
So yes, there's a lot of gatekeeping. But Thomas, how long have you been playing?
I originally started, I think it was in primary school, which would have been...
So like 43 years-ish? What would that be? Like
43? What the...
50, 52?
Sorry.
If anything, that's a compliment, Thomas.
Is it? So I'm 28. So it probably would have been when I was about 11, so maybe 17 years ago.
Rough life, is it? Has it been?
Yeah, it's haggard me down. But it was I went to library camp, and it's as cool as it sounds.
I'm sorry, you went to library camp?
I went to library.
Cool as it ends.
This was like straight after maths camp, which I also went to.
I thought me going to band camp was lame, but dang.
Oh no. I thought band camp was actually kind of cool, and I didn't know if I belonged.
My school didn't have camps.
I need to know more about.
We just had a library.
Yeah, just had a library. Yeah, Thomas's was in the same situation. He just camped out in there one night.
Yeah, they didn't tell me to leave. I didn't know.
So what did you do on library camp? What was?
I
really need to know. Man.
We don't. Okay,
so I went to a preparatory school in a rather wealthy suburb known as Mossman, and the local library held they wanted to do more events for kids, and one of them was to do essentially a sleepover. It sounds predatory now. A sleepover camp in the library, and one of the parts was that I met my first DM, and he is actually excellent. Can't remember his name. We played my first ever game of D&D in the bottom level while everyone else was watching a movie. He was just like, "Hey man, do you want to be a dwarf?" I'm like, "Yeah." So
and he broke my knees.
Come to my dungeon.
Is it come down the stairs? There's plenty down here.
And that was my first D&D thing, and
nice.
we played other things like not Starfighter. We played like a sci-fi version as well, and everything which he did was homebrew. So I really didn't get exposed to the D&D universe as much as I got exposed to tabletop games.
Right. Cool. And then who would?
No, it's not.
I mean, not cool, but cool from the nerds.
Don't use that word.
Look who in this group. That's considered cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Cool.
think you've been playing D&D that long.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I've been playing for 7 or 8 years.
You started with 5th edition?
I started with 3.5.
Oh.
So my first character was a sorceress who used a lot of psionic powers.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, an ex-boyfriend of mine, terrible person, really great DM. So it was like this amazing...
Yeah, just like Kendall.
Yeah, you can't have both.
I mean,
We've discovered
you can't have neither.
Yeah,
you can have neither or one of the two. You can't have both.
Yeah, similar to Tom, it was a lot of homebrew stuff, which was really cool. He used to create all of these amazing soundscapes and musical effects. It was super immersive, so I loved that. And then that all fell apart, but the D&D stayed.
What? You didn't continue the campaign after breaking up with him? That wasn't a little bit awkward?
We tried.
You actually tried?
He was that good of a DM that we tried. It didn't work.
Make this work.
It didn't work.
Oh, Lord. That's So you've been playing 7 or 8 years, I think.
Yeah,
maybe I would be
roughly.
next. I've been playing about 5 or 6 now. I started with 5th edition. And who would be after that?
I think I was about the
You've been playing.
same. Yeah, about 2014, 2015. Can't
Yeah.
remember which one. It was, in hindsight, Pathfinder, but the guy who was introducing it to us just said D&D for simplicity.
Right.
And
yes.
I only find out that it was a different thing later on. So that was cool. That was during acting school when a lot of us were very depressed and looking for an outlet, and someone in the year above us was like, here's what I do. And yeah, we went around to his house and played it. It was very fun. It was also, there's a bit of liberal guilt in it as well, because all but 2 of us at the table were Indigenous Australian, and me and the other white guy just had to deal with the campaign having a lot of jokes about colonization and stuff, and we really just couldn't comment.
You're like, yeah.
And I was a dwarf fighter called Dwarfo-Cop.
You played police in this?
Read the room, Kendall.
It was his origin story.
It's certainly a choice. It's certainly a solid choice.
I didn't know that was going to be the makeup of the group. They said, come with a character.
How good are cops, guys?
Okay, he died. He fell into water that was slightly above his head, and he was wearing heavy armor and Pathfinder. It was a death sentence.
Did you stick your thumb up above the water like that?
No, couldn't. The shoulder
Too heavy
stuff. Could only get up to there.
And so, Elliot, was it
think-
your first time playing with when Eva introduced you to it that one time?
Yeah, playing D&D. I mean, does Baldur's Gate count, guys?
Well, if it does, I played it as a kid and didn't even realize it was D&D until many years later.
Yeah, I remember seeing Thaco so much, and I'm just like, I don't know what that means. But yeah, it would have been at Eva's house.
And that
it
was
was a
like
fun
2
game.
years ago.
When was that? I don't know.
Maybe like 4 years ago.
Has it been that long?
I think so.
my God.
Because I took down a note. I took down a note here that I was going back through. I was stalking Deerstalker, and there's a whole
How the
bunch
turntables.
whole bunch of Overwatch and anime stuff. And
Oh,
and
no.
And an announcement.
Have you seen Baywatch?
I'm going to be asking questions. And then it hit 100. There was an announcement saying we've just hit 100,000 subs, and you've now got 500 and some thousand, which is incredible. Well done, 500,000. But that was 3 years ago. And then I was like, when did they start playing D&D? When was this One for All started? And I went through it, and the first One for All was in October 2019, which was a lot sooner than I expected for the incredible success that you guys have had with it. So was it around the conception of One for All was the same time that you were actually introduced to D&D in the first place, or had you been playing a little while and then thought, oh, there's actually some stuff in here?
It was like, I think we only released that first video probably, a year or something after we played? Yeah,
So
it was a while.
It was a pretty immediate hook then. You were like, oh, there's definitely stuff to be made into videos here.
Yeah, I mean, because we were kind of looking to do our own thing that was still kind of part of an existing fandom that because obviously releasing your own original content on YouTube is a dangerous game.
Yep.
Good luck.
Yeah. So it was just kind of we played it, we loved it, and we just wanted to see what would happen if we did something with that. And we went through so many different iterations of casting and team comps and party sizes before we finally got around to really focusing in on the 3 of them and Kendall. And I think months later the first episode finally came out.
There is a lot of questions I want to talk
Tell him
with that, but before we, I don't want to. I'm aware that I'm sort of talking over Vinny and Fall there. Fall, what's your experience with D&D before?
So growing up, I was in a very small school, where the peak of nerdom was young boys running, Naruto running around the playground. That was probably the peak of
We still do it.
where
travel.
where I lived growing up. So
Needs to
I
be
didn't
balanced.
actually get into like, you know, anime or anything until I got into about high school. And then from there, like I started kind of delving more into it, got into cosplay, but like been acting like pretty much all my life. And so I loved improv games. I've always loved improv games. So when I was actually working in a corporate office, I actually, one of my coworkers was just like, hey, we're playing D&D. This is probably around like 2017, 2000, like maybe early 2018. And was just like, hey, like, do you want to join? Like, I don't know if you're going to be any good, so like we can like play test you for a bit, and then see if you like if you're any good, and then you can join like, you know, the actual campaign that I'm about to run. Anyway,
we've got a trial period. If you want to just sign here, we've got
yeah,
90
like,
days.
Right after I finished the trial period for my corporate job, I was put on trial period for D&D, like, you know, one to the other. But yeah, and so I started with that group, and I actually fell in love with it pretty much straight away because it was everything that I loved. It was, you know, it was improv. You know, I wasn't huge into fantasy as a kid, but I've really come to love it growing a lot older as well. So yeah, I've never stopped playing since, and now I get to be part of this awesome crew, and I get to be part, like, I don't know, I love D&D now. I'm obsessed with it.
In her apartment, just like around the
Oh
corner.
yeah.
There's an awesome crew around her.
This fan is
She's got a big fan.
Massive fan.
It's her only
so
fan.
Were you doing were you doing cosplay before getting into D&D then, or did it come about at the same time?
Oh no, I was been cosplaying since 2011.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like it started off with me just taking you know, school dress up, like mufti days, like way too hard. You know, just like as soon as they gave you like anything, like you know, like, oh, it's book week, you know, just like going real ham and like making sure it's like the best costume. And then I realized, oh my god, people do this like all the time for fun. And so yeah, so I just like, honestly, it was a natural progression, I feel.
Nice. And Vinny, you ever played? What's your experience with it?
I am the imposter.
Vote him out.
Yes.
Can you eject him from the chat?
Played
boy.
You've never played it at all.
I hadn't when I'd started the show. These lovely people and a few others ran me through my first one shot. I think it was the first lockdown, I think.
Yeah.
So it would have been like maybe June or earlier last year.
With Vince the Pinch.
Yeah, I played Vince the Pinch, who was just a half-orc fighter, and he was like, "Hey, how you going? I'm Vince the Pinch, and I'm gonna steal from you." And I don't have a very good dex score, so that failed. But he killed a lot of people, so that's something. Since then,
You can steal when they're dead.
I'm now playing 2 campaigns, one with a few of these guys, so Kendall, Elliot, and Eva, and then also got another one with some ex-housemates. And I don't mean to, but one of them's a paladin who's just an idiot, and then the other one's a cleric. And I'm like, I'm not a very religious person, but I just find
You somehow gravitated towards the ones that get their power from deities. Yeah.
It makes sense in D&D because in the D&D world, it's obvious that the gods exist. They are quite literally intervening as much as possible and stuff. Whereas in this world, it's like
it's a belief thing. It's like you know, there's not evidence, so you've got to have your own faith about it. Whereas in D&D,
and then as soon as something does happen, you're like, aha!
Which is why which is why for a while I would love to. I've had a character that I want to play that's like basically an atheist. He just genuinely believes there's no gods in the world, and he would be like a flat earther or something. He would be someone who like completely refuses to believe the evidence in front of their eyes and be like, no. He always tries to find ways around it to be like, actually this thing can be explained in another way.
I saw someone post like a paladin oath of the atheist thing once, and not enough of people got the joke, but the spellcasting modifier switched from charisma to intelligence. And
I like that.
Very
subtle.
I want to play this.
But yeah, I just feel as though those classes were never roles I would play in other games. Like I used to play WoW a lot, and still do. And like Diablo 2 and things like that. I'd always go for like sorcerer types, but never like the bonk sort of roles. So I don't know. I just find it. I kind of enjoy. I think there's like a safer melee players because they're a bit more tankier?
Yeah, they are. Paladins are a little. I've always described paladins as kind of like a taste of everything. You've got you've got some healing, you've got some spellcasting, and if spellcasting is too confusing for you, you can always just spend your spell slots to bonk harder.
Smite.
Phrasing.
What
Thank
was
you for
your
the hype
first
train, by the way.
character,
There's a whole bunch of hype. People are hyped to have you here. Thank you.
Oh,
Wabberjack.
nice.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, Wabberjack!
Wabberjack.
What was your first
The
character?
wa- yeah, it is. It's Webberjack Wagon.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
are.
Wabberjack.
Hey!
Crazy, generous giftings again.
How you doing?
Starlight Wabberjack.
Paul just
what-
asked you a question, Rob.
Yeah, Rob, what was your first character?
My first character was an elf monk, so I was I got into D&D
Good choice.
through hip hop, as everybody does.
Makes sense.
I was doing a hip hop class and I was chatting to one of the guys in it, and he, after a few weeks, we sort of got to know each other enough that he felt comfortable sort of coming out as a dungeon master.
That's very brave.
I've got a dark secret to tell you.
Yeah, it basically
Honestly,
was. He was so.
I can relate.
Yeah, he was so like nervous to tell everybody that he does Dungeons and Dragons because he was afraid of the sort of reputation of it.
How do his parents react?
I'm not sure if he ever told.
Does your mum know that you're a dungeon master?
Oh, everybody knows I'm a dungeon master. I tell it without context at every opportunity I can. Just
It's like, sir,
be
here's your
"I'm a
copy,
dungeon
please, just
master,"
leave.
and then just leave. And they're like, "What? Sorry, what do you do for a living?" Oh, I entertain
Get out of our
adults."
church.
I can totally relate though. Like as a burlesque performer, when One for All came out, it was like, I guess I tell the burlesque world that I'm a massive nerd now.
Yeah, like
You thought I was very vintage and glamorous, and I'm like, no.
No.
You just tell them you're a dungeon master and make their own minds up.
Dungeon mistress.
Dungeon mistress. So I went round to his place and I was like, oh well. First I got into board games in a big way, and I found Tabletop, the Will Wheaton show, and started watching a whole bunch of different board games and things. And he had Alan Tudyk on one of his episodes, and they were playing some sort of role playing game. It wasn't Dungeons and Dragons, but I was like, man, this is fun. Isn't this? I think this is kind of what Dungeons and Dragons is. Oh, and that guy said he was a dungeon master. I'll get in touch with him. Hey, would you run a game for me? I want to see what the game's like. And he was like, yeah, absolutely. And then I walked around, and it was literally like, more of that, please, more immediately.
That is exactly it. Oh my god.
I found
But
the
do you
PDF
still go to
of
hip hop
the player's
school?
handbooks. And just, what was that?
But do you still do hip hop school? That's what I want to know.
Unfortunately not.
flunked.
No.
Like,
Now I'm doing ballroom with my partner at the moment. We're moving ballroom and jive and jazz. Yeah,
Yes, I
pretty fun.
love jive.
Yeah, it's cool.
I'm sure we can all relate.
I think I'm
though, to
getting into that.
one point where we all played like a game that went on for like, hours and hours, like 8 hours or something, and
Yeah.
you're like, and someone's like, oh, it's time for the game to stop, and you're just like, wait, what?
No,
Already?
Why?
No, it can't end now.
Like 20 minutes. Oh, well, maybe not. Yeah, it was an instant hook. So he had like a pre-gen character for me because obviously the character creation is a little off-putting to new people. And he was like, basically just choose what kind of class you want to be. And I was like, what is there? And he goes, oh, we've already got a druid and I can't remember who the other one was, a fighter or something in the party. So someone maybe this or this. He gave me like 3 options. And he was starting to describe them, and he goes, monks, I suppose you can kind of think of them like Jedi. And I was like, that one.
It's dibs.
I want that one.
I was like, that one. Yep, that one. He goes, they can kind of manipulate. And I was like, you've already sold me, mate. You don't need to keep talking. Holy shit, Wabberjack Wagon. Sorry, everybody. Wabberjack's just gifted 25 subs.
Oh my
Yay.
god! Wow.
Yeah.
Wabberjack's
blow
the
my
most
mind.
generous person ever.
Thank you very much.
So was that
Wow.
3.5 or
It was 5th edition.
earlier? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I've only ever played 5th edition. I've heard a lot about all the other editions. I've seen videos about them. I know about like the ins and outs of why people either liked or hated them, but I've never actually had the opportunity to play them yet. One of my very generous fans sent me some of the older books from 2nd edition AD&D.
Oh, hell yeah.
So I've yet to read them, but I'll be getting those out at some point.
I think one day I want to play 1st edition just for like the cultural,
Yeah,
just the
shock.
cultural experience of it.
Pilgrimage.
Just to
Will you
see,
be
just to
playing
see
as
what people
the
would do.
elf class?
Yeah. Dwarf class.
yeah. What class are you?
It's like the
Elf. Yeah, but
original-
what class? No, just
What was
elf.
the
Elf.
That's all I
original?
got.
The original fighter wasn't even called Fighter. It was like Action Man
Yeah,
or
it
something
was
like that. It
Action
was
Man.
Action!
Fighting Man or something. I think it
Yeah,
might have been
fighting
Man.
Fighting Man.
Fighting
That's right.
Man.
Yeah,
Oh
it's like play as
Who are you?
Fighting
I'm
Man.
Fighting
Because they had
Fighting
They had-
Man.
Fighting
Like
Man,
Fighting
they
Man-
had Rogue. No, Rogue wasn't in there yet. They had
This is-
Mage. Mage was one of them, I think.
Yeah,
Fighting Man, Mage, and essentially like a tank, a healer and a priest. I think might have been the healer, and then I think maybe Rogue. I think they called Thief or Assassin or something.
yeah.
It was the roguish type, and that was kind of the party dynamic.
Fighting Man.
Basically, all the characters from Talisman.
Sparrow says the 25 gifted subs was after like 10,000 bits, so I obviously missed a whole bunch of bits from Weber as well. Thank you, Weber.
Wow.
Normally I have alerts on my
Oh.
stream, but you can see it's pretty hectic on this stream with 7 people and a notice board, so I had no room for alerts. Thank you very much to everybody who's donated to the hype train. It's still going. We're at level 4 now.
Wow.
Oh,
Hi.
yes.
Incredible
Thank
job.
you.
Also, speaking of like old school Dungeons and Dragons, who here has seen the 2000 movie with Jeremy Irons?
I haven't.
I haven't,
It-
but I feel like we totally should
You
just have like a
have
watch
to.
party.
Oh, we should
Oh,
have
yeah.
a watch
Let's just
your
do it,
reaction.
Watch party
Can
for
we
it would be
drink?
amazing. It is so good.
Can we
It's
have a
so
drink,
good.
like drinking game while we do that too? Like,
I haven't seen that one. I have seen Mazes and Monsters, which was hilarious.
Oh, okay.
As
Yeah,
it
no,
was,
it's-
it was the kind of satanic panic. Why Dungeons and Dragons is an evil game.
Yeah,
kind of,
with-
with
Tom Hanks.
With Tom Hanks, yeah.
We still
Young
get comments
Tom
about
Hanks.
like satanic panic all the time.
Yeah.
It's incredible, isn't it? Like you're like, oh wow, even in this year, yeah, still
Right.
Oh, okay. I got one on one of the first Viva videos I did that was like, I really love you guys, so I hope you understand that Robert's a manipulator sent to something about being a devil, and I'm sent to manipulate their minds and send them towards evil by having this game make them commit evil acts of atrocity and blah blah blah, and I was like, oh, okay. Thanks for watching.
It's a lot of
like and
effort.
subscribe.
Like and
Wow.
subscribe. I mean, they weren't wrong. I am an evil manipulator, but I was just disappointed that they managed to see it so quickly.
But it was
Holy
my time off. I was
shit.
playing a game. And this wasn't my 9-to-5 job of being a demon.
Yeah, I manipulate and destroy people in my outside game, not in this one. Webberjack just gifted another 50 subs. Just
Oh my lord!
finishing off
just
level
run 'em
4
out.
of the hype train.
Wabba wabba.
I don't.
Okay.
Oh my god,
Thank you,
wow.
Wow.
What do we get?
Oh
One
my
of them was
God.
to Goldie.
What do we get? Do we get like the
Oh, this is
He's like,
great.
oh,
I got
great.
a sub as well.
do we get like
Sub-
do we get like a +1 to a mental stat for the hype train, or like what's happening?
yeah. If we reach
Jen
level
got one
5,
as well.
If we reach level 5 hype train, you'll get a +1. You'll get one step closer to the level up, which I do as milestone. So you know, it's not going to mean anything. You get 20 XP. How many XP till we level up? Infinite.
Infinite.
So you thought you could get around talking about Overwatch and anime, but we're going to talk about the origins of Deerstalker Pictures.
You should definitely ask Thomas about that.
Yeah, well, okay, cool.
I mean, we
only if right after that we can talk about D&D logic, because it's
Of course.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I want to do a watch party of Baywatch.
So tell me
Ooh.
about the very, very, very origins of Deerstalker Pictures. Where did the channel start?
Oh man, we were just like fresh. I think we we're still in film school, so we were like, I think like 19 or something, and we were like running around conventions, like recreating like cinematic like moments from films with cosplayers. So I think that was actually the first time that we met Tom with his Assassin's Creed cosplay. At the Gold
Brisbane
Coast?
2011, was it? No, later than that, 12 or 13.
Something
I
like
can't
that.
remember. Yeah,
It's Gold Coast. You were
it was Assassin's Creed 3,
yeah.
if anyone knows the date.
Google is
That's
free.
good enough for the zeitgeist to work it out with.
Yeah, there'll be some maths in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There'll be people who count the years by which games are most popular that year. So they'll know
Oh
exactly.
yes, Brotherhood, a good year.
Yeah, oh, it's the Brotherhood year. Yeah.
Oh god.
I found a trailer for it from 2012.
That probably it.
Oh wait, here we go. Release date 2012. Yep.
2012.
Kendall
So you
all
were,
Yeah,
over it.
you were
2012.
Assassin's Creed. Did you have the full retractable dagger situation?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was just happy because it was like an ethnic assassin. I'm like, dibs.
Representation.
Yeah, pretty much.
As a white man, I know all about their
Oh,
struggles.
yeah.
I know all
As white men, I know all about the
the-
ethnic assassins. They're still after me.
yeah. The damn, what was the line that you struggled with for a million times with that episode? I know all about.
I don't know.
Persecution.
As a human male.
As a human male, I know all about being preposterous. As
Prosecuted.
Prosecuted. Prosecuted instead of persecuted. That was it. I know all about being prosecuted.
It's a rough night.
Yeah, he'd had
How many
seven.
drinks
He'd
had
had
you at that
7
point?
potions of hilarity.
Potions of,
Yeah, he had 7
very
potions of
potioned
mana.
up.
He had a mana.
potions
You
of
just
feeling warmer
thrown back-
when you're not actually warmer.
Throwing
And that was
back
the
mana
last
potions.
time we filmed in Thomas's backyard.
It was difficult.
Oh,
Like,
last
I left
time
out
you
costume the
filmed.
morning of as well.
Last time you filmed in Thomas's backyard.
Whoa!
Moving swiftly on. So
Sorry.
so you run around
On
campus
and backwards.
taking footage and just recreating scenes. Got Thomas with his Assassin's Creed, and that was the first sort of content on the channel, just being like funny little anime-esque skits or what.
It was like if you have ever seen like a cosplay music video where people were just running around conventions, just
Right,
like
yeah.
shooting slow-mo. Everything's on a glide cam. It's got the classic like you tilt down to the floor and then you transition to the next shot. You tilt up and it's the next person. Yeah, it was the style at the time.
His favorite part about
Yeah, it's a choice that definitely doesn't date your videos at all.
Yeah.
One of my favorite parts about that too, because I knew Deerstalker around that time as well, and they've always been very into J fashion style, like really awesome over the top Japanese fashion.
Right.
So they would be there doing all of this in full like Japanese fashion regalia. So Elliot's in like a frock coat and boots, Goldie's in like petticoats and a dress, holding like a Ronin rig and filming it. Incredible. Just incredible.
A sight to behold.
And did you achieve like great success with these videos, or was it just like a cutting your teeth on?
I mean, we
sort of thing?
we met Mary, and he stole our Ronin.
That's
What was like?
As in
As
the
in-
actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mary. Oh, you met Mary as in the guy who played Merry and Pippin. Mary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
What other Mary would I be?
No
I was like,
context.
what context are we missing
Met
here?
Mary.
We've met Mary. I'm like, okay.
And that was the highlight of that. But yeah, I think we were only getting like 1,000 or 2,000 views a pop, and at the time we thought that was pretty good.
I think you're playing yourself down a little bit because they were notorious in the cosplay scene for a very long time.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my god, is that Deerstalker's over there? Oh my god. And then everyone would sort of perk up and make their costumes look real good and sort of stride past slowly.
Oh, I remember doing like a couple passes by them being like,
Just in case. So in the con scene back in the day, 100%, you guys were big.
So Thomas, Eva, and Fall, you've all done cosplay for a while.
Yeah.
You were like doing that long before you were doing this.
Oh yeah, god.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was
It was doing cosplay in high school that led me to actually go study costuming as a
Right.
career.
Yeah. And you
I bullied my high school friend for doing it, and then I did it.
Of course.
And look at you now.
Yeah.
Where's your high school friend at now?
I think he's still cosplaying, so it's fine.
So your first videos went up. Before we even move on, where did the name Deerstalker come from?
Oh god.
Obviously, to do with the Deerstalker hat, presumably, with the
Yeah.
Sherlock Holmes-esque.
I feel like
Wasn't that deer,
there's
like,
just
on
there's
the
so
road in
much
Brisbane?
history. Yeah, no, that's it. That's the story. In
Boom, moving on.
in university, we were trying to make a sci-fi film, and we had been there talking about how we're going to make this because sci-fi, no budget. We needed to find a deer, like a stag, to shoot, and we're talking about like, how do we just go to like a deer farm? There's one I think in Queensland that we can just drive to, and we were there till like 2 o'clock at uni, 2 a.m. in the morning, just trying to like figure out how to do this. We drove home, and I live across the road from a golf course, and it was just like this insane moment where there was just three deer, like a family, walking up the median strip. And it was just like, what the fuck is that? Are we all high? What happened? So it was just like, we just like pulled over to the side of the road, and like
one of them came over, knocked on your window, and was like, "I hear you're recruiting. My daughter here, she wants to be a model. She's really starting her career."
Just kicks a hole in the window.
Well, we were just like, crack open the boot, like let's just put one in there. and yeah,
to this day.
Okay, I'm in serious trouble for saying that once.
It ran away. They all ran away, and almost got hit by a car. But anyway, like that was just kind of like a moment that obviously stuck with us. And we were trying to come up with a name for our channel at the same time. And I guess that's just what we decided on.
It's always the thing though that people spend so much time thinking about a name, and then nobody ever really thinks about it later on. They're just like, that's just associated with you now. They think of you when they hear the name. They don't think about what the name is or whatever.
I mean, like, what is VLDL? I don't know. Yeah. It's you guys.
Yeah, it's just them.
What is a Robert Hartley really? Anyway,
that's pretty much why I didn't put any thought into like, oh, should I have a brand name of my thing? No, I just use my name. It doesn't matter.
A Robert Hartley by any other name would probably be much sweeter.
Could you just make it a heart?
Oh,
okay.
Oh,
Wow.
Kendall, you're so cruel.
Kendall, you've got the silliest name out of everyone here. Let's
Don't get me started on the Drury Brewery.
Hey, trademark. Or trademark.
Drury Judy.
So the stuff that got you to your first 100,000 subs, that was mostly Overwatch and anime by the looks of it. How did that all start?
Yeah, I mean, it was just like we loved it. We were in the community. We were like, we wanted to make memes, and that was just kind of like what we did at the time. It was
the biggest thing that was kind of on your radar. And you're just like, let's do that.
Yeah, like it was just fun, and we knew a bunch of people who were already cosplaying it. So it seemed like graduating from running around at a convention with a camera and no plan to having a plan and then actually shooting something. It was just it was the next step
with the camera.
Yeah, still running around.
Is that when these guys all got involved? All your cast here? Did you guys only get involved in One for All? Were you involved in the Overwatch?
I was only involved through actually Thomas introduced Elliot and Goldie to me. Do you want to start that one?
Yeah, you want to say something, Tom?
Oh, not at all. No, good. Summarized perfectly. It was a good day.
I feel like there's
better for some than others.
Context when you have mystery.
Actually, I'm actually curious because I don't think you've ever told me why you thought to introduce me in the first place.
You know, I don't think I've never found the answer. Honestly, I think it was. Let's say the stars aligned.
So actually, I think me and Kendall are also Vinny as well, but me and Kendall are both the newcomers, right? Or Kendall?
Oh yeah, sorry. No, Kendall was in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's my bad. Okay, so then me and Vinny are the new ones here.
And
the
Pokemon.
newbies.
With Misty.
Yeah.
What's the Godzilla Pokemon one?
I was like pretty much the only late notice noodle in the whole thing.
But yes, so the funny thing of how I got introduced to Elliot and Goldie was that it was at a con, and there's one specific day during a con that me and my friends, we dress up in specific costumes and we get drunk. Because but the thing is, we dress in specific costumes that like no one really knows who we are. Look, no one really knows who we are, so no one's really going to come and interact with us, like that sort of thing. It's just for fun for us. But it was this particular day that I saw Thomas at the same convention, and he was like, "Oh, hey, come over. These are the people I was telling you about that are doing the D&D thing." And I was like, oh crap, because I had my friend in the toilet that was puking up her guts, and my other friend who's also like off her face, and I'm like one of the only sober, semi-drunk people.
This is when I want to be having an interview for something.
Yeah.
She gave them about a 20-minute elevator pitch, which is a really long elevator ride.
I was going to say, did she just down all the buttons on the elevator?
If the elevator breaks.
I was like, by the way.
Emergency stop on the elevator.
she repeated the pitch like 3 or 4 times because she was that drunk, and also stopping every few seconds to check on her friend if she was still there. It was just like we're just kind of like
the whole time, and by the time I got back at the end of it, she was like, "I still haven't put my pants on," and we're just like, "You had 20 minutes to put your pants on. What is wrong?" But yeah, no, I agree.
Alcohol's what's wrong. What are you new?
And she was the best. And she was the best one they interviewed.
Yeah, they were like, "This one is chaotic enough to pull this shit off."
Well, we learned like mostly through cosplay videos that it's actually really hard for like cosplayers usually to act like the person that they're cosplaying, because like acting and cosplaying are completely different skills.
Actors
So we decided why even get people to act if they can just be themselves, Thomas.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, you can find, I think, Thomas and I in a whole lot of the Deerstalker Pictures stuff, though, if you go digging. I go right back to like the Lolita fashion skits, and I think I'm in the Assassin's Creed one.
Viva la Revolution.
Oh, that one.
In Australian.
Viva la Revolution. Right?
Sorry, inside joke.
So the channel was doing relatively successful there. You got your 100,000. You got your silver button, silver play button. Who holds onto that? Is that yours, Elliot?
It's right off screen behind the camera.
Just right
Prove
off.
it.
You were pointing this way. Was it right
Prove
over
it,
there?
There it is.
Is that where you're pointing?
Yeah,
there it is.
Is that where you're pointing?
Wow.
Sorry. Oh no, wait, that's mine.
It just appeared in everyone watching the stream. It just appeared in the background of their house for a second and then disappeared.
I accidentally show mine off just a few times, just accidentally. My green screen down.
Oh, how silly of me!
How silly of me. So then you skip forward a little while. You get started with your One for All, and what I noticed going through your community posts on YouTube is that there is just a cut. Wham! One day it's Overwatch and anime. The next day it's like, oh guys, we're going to be starting a D&D thing soon. And then from that point on, there is only one thing in the last year and a half that is not D&D One for All related. Was that because of this immediate success of the first episode, or why did you make that sudden shift to now it's One for All?
I mean, look, we've been doing YouTube for a long time. We've been doing it for 10 years, but we've never really been doing it like smartly. Like, there was a time there was a time where we were doing like, 1 week would be like, J fashion videos. The next week would be like cosplay videos. The week after that, talking alpaca chef.
Why not?
Yeah, and it's just like, if you subscribe to us, you have no idea what you're getting into. And obviously the algorithm, it's all about just like the same thing week after week, but with a new hat. So yeah, it's just like
in a new hat.
we decided just like let's do something. We also wanted to do something original with our own characters, so we're just like, let's try this and see how it goes. And then I think once the first episode started doing so well, we were just like, shit, man, we got to keep going.
Yeah.
People want more.
People want it. We found the thing.
It's like when you turn the treadmill on too high and you start running and you're like, oh god, we can't stop.
we can't keep up.
And tell us a little about the process that went into the cast. Then you said you went through a few different decisions on how big the party should be, and you said that you've said at some point in another interview that you had a pacifist barbarian in the initial construct, which I imagine came back as Mogdar later.
That's right.
And then you had somebody had a French accent originally, and there was a paladin or something. How did that sort of composition take hold?
Yeah, so I mean, we were thinking about like what would actually make up a good, like, well-rounded party. Like, I noticed that from what I've seen of D&D Logic, like, you seem to have like quite a large party.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've kind of styled it on West matches, so in each episode you'll see like maybe 4 or 5 people in the party, but I've represented every class, kind of thing.
Yeah. Like, we were gonna originally try to do like 5 people, and it's like you're doing like a 5-minute video with NPCs. It's like, how much screen time do they get? Is it worth like putting somebody in that much makeup? to
I say yes.
stand in the background. Sure. Okay. So yeah, we were just like, what do we do? We need to. We had like Anandale as part of the original party. We had Mogdar as well, who was going to be played by a completely different actor, who unfortunately fell out because of like scheduling and stuff.
Right, yeah.
So we decided, and we realized that it was stupid to just have so many people. So we just cut it down to the 3 of them. And I mean, you guys, I feel like I've been talking the whole time. Do you guys want to talk about how your characters? Shut up, Kendall.
No.
If you want to talk about, I don't know, Eva, Evandra, having a Russian accent.
So the three who are playing the party, because I just don't like to talk to Kendall as much as I can.
Yep.
Same.
Did you guys come up with your own characters? Like you realized that you wanted 3 as the party composition, but then obviously we've already said Thomas is basically just playing himself.
Bullshit.
How much reign did you have over making your own characters, basically?
I mean, I think Elliot came up with most of Evandra. I was just pretty adamant that I wanted to be an elf of some kind. I was just like, elf!
As long as an elf, anything at all.
So, yeah. So I think that was about as much input as I had with that. And Evandra was kind of, I think for a little bit was going to be a cleric, was one of the ideas tossed around. And then Paladin was tossed around for a little bit. Originally when it had the 5-person party comp. And when we then lost the idea of having the barbarian in, she sort of took over that heavy hitter role. And then I think like that really helped shape the character when Elliot was writing that, was to create this kind of tough guy.
Yeah.
But she's a she, which is really fun.
She's a she.
Yeah.
My character was actually based off one of Goldie's characters, who was also a tiefling pyromaniac. So when I got the brief for my character, it was literally tiefling pyromaniac. And I was like, cool, I can work with this. But when it came to like the actual like conception of the character, like they definitely gave me a lot of free will with kind of that, like just being like, okay, what color are you going to be? And we kind of were working with the idea of like, okay, how do we make this original and not, you know, something that's been seen before? So we kind of crossed blue like right off the table, just being like everyone's gonna be like, this is Jester, and I was like, yeah, okay, cool, we're not gonna do that, we're gonna cross blue right off.
I can't believe for myself that I made a blue cleric in a blue tiefling cleric in D&D Logic. Genuinely didn't even occur to me until somebody in the comments was like, oh, a blue tiefling cleric, I know one like that, and I was like, I don't know who they're talking about. And I was like, wait, who? And they're like, Jester from Crit. I was like, holy shit. I think possibly because I don't think of her as a cleric. she just never heals.
Oh, yeah, Battle Mercy. Well, she wanted to be a warlock.
Yeah.
But Travis sold that.
So you went not blue, not red. Red's too obvious.
So
we had color blocking as well. Pink, so we were wanting like a green, a blue, and a reddish, pinkish kind of thing.
Like a different color for each character. That's what we did with D&D Logic as well. I was like, okay, wizard has this orange theme, and the cleric has a blue theme going on. And,
Yeah, but we also got, I mean, I don't know about you other guys, but I got a bit of free reign when it came to like the designing of the character as like the costume itself. Essentially at that point in time, I was just like, okay, what's going to be like the easiest thing to wear? And I was like, I literally had a scarf at the time that looked a bit like chainmail. It was just really long. And I was like, what if I just wrapped that around my top? Like around my top half, and I was like, oh my god, this works really well as like just some sort of like halter neck thing. And then I ended up just basically buying some material, sewing it into a big long tube, and then just wearing that for the first season just because I just really enjoyed it. But then I had to paint myself pink like way too much.
Yeah,
there was so much skin showing.
I was gonna say, you never thought like, oh, I'll try and wrap up as much as I can and have as little skin showing as possible.
I think that was one of the big learning curves actually, is in the beginning, the main trio, we all kind of did our own costumes, and then actually as it continued on, kind of wrestling with the practicality of them became became
we're
a
so
big
used to
thing.
making cosplay that you put on like once or twice, and you can kind of like you get ready in the morning and then that's it. Whereas like when you're acting, it's like constantly having to get back in and out, in and out, in and out.
Yep.
Make sure that you can put a microphone in it, all that sort of stuff. That's so much
And
harder.
all the different environments and uses for them as well, like 40-degree Australian summer. So yeah, I think that was when we sort of switched it over into actually looking at it as costuming rather than just cosplay.
But even at the time when we were like making and designing these costumes, we only thought that we were going to wear them once.
Yep.
I made the same issue when I was in a skit with Viva for Dark Souls logic, and I was playing some prick that was like, oh, I've played this game a million times, I know what I'm doing, and I was wearing this really nice sort of plate armor. And the number of comments I got on it being like, "Oh, that plate armor looks good on Rob." So my ego went, "Well, I guess that's what I'll put myself in for D&D Logic then, because people say it looks good on me." And I was like, "Yeah, sweet. I'll be in this costume that people have said, yeah, that it really works well with you." And so I put myself in it. It was fine for the 3 hours that I was in it for Dark Souls Logic. Not for 3 full days of shooting though.
Rookie error.
Not comfortable at all.
Yep.
So I've genuinely said, like, in season, if it comes back for season 2, then I'm probably first episode's probably going to be some basis of like, fighters fighting without armor on, ha 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 ha.
Unarmored defense.
I'm gonna come up with some reason in game as to why this fighter gets leather armor.
So the reasoning behind that character was you wanted to wear plate armor. Yeah, like what about the other characters? Like, did you have like a way of coming up with them? I mean, I know
all the other D&D Logic characters.
Yeah, or is it like collaborated with the other people on the show?
No, it's all me, mate. It's
my baby.
Wow, mastermind.
And don't let Adam in the chat say I'll tell you anything else. So I had the idea that I wanted all of the different classes represented, and I wanted all the different races represented, all the different species that you can be, and we listed down all of the different species you can be. Well, not all of them, because there's 1,000,001. And we literally ranked them by like how difficult it was to do, and we were like, Aarakocra would be amazing. It's never going to happen. We're not going to have a real humanoid person with a beak and wings and functional wings and all of that stuff.
If only you could see my costume meetings with Deerstalker right now.
That's why before we started, and you were like, "Oh yeah, maybe not." So I was like, I was like, Kenku. If we can find like a bird, at least they don't have wings and they don't fly. We can just put them in a cloak, so we don't have to put feathers on them. Just have a bird mask. And so we were looking for the like different bird masks and stuff. And the props and costume were getting in touch every so often, being like, "Oh, we found this thing and this thing, and there's a mechanical automatic kind of amazing mask that's got like this tabaxi face that can actually move, but it's also $2 million. It's some ridiculous part of the budget that you're like, okay, it's not worth it just to make somebody a tabaxi." And so I went down the list and I was like, okay, we'll have human, half elf, dwarf, all of these obvious ones. What was that?
I was like, you got a link for that?
Yeah, Evandra wants to kill some more tabaxi orphans.
Yeah, I'll get you a link to all of the ridiculously overpriced costume pieces. But I was like, all right, let's go mostly in tier 1, essentially the easy ones to do, and then we'll take a couple from tier 2, like the Goliath, the Tiefling, and the Furbolg are going to be the hard ones, sort of thing. And that was the main reasoning behind the races, the species. And as for the classes, I went down the list, and while I was writing the script, I need a new person. Let's just say it's Ranger. And I stuck that in and just like tried to include as many as possible. And then once the scripts were made, I went back and was like, it'd be actually more sensible for this to be a rogue character saying this, and this should be a barbarian or whatever. And once I'd done that, we went to our first pre-production meeting, and the guys were like, "Hey Rob, you've got 13 main characters." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's a good point." He's like, "Maybe we have 5 of them as the main characters, and the rest of them are kind of background characters." And then so I went back and was like, "Okay, this line can go to Druid, this line can go to Ranger." And I paired it back, got rid of 4 of the 13 classes entirely, so they're not going to be in it until a later season maybe. And then we chose the 5.
So, do you need 4 actors for that?
Yeah, I do. Do you know any?
Oh.
Do you happen to need a pyromaniac tiefling?
Well, if we
Elliot's
do,
just
we'll
like,
be in
you're all
touch.
fired. You little sellouts.
the B party.
Elliot's like, you hussies.
The number of comments on all of the stuff, all the trailers and things, though, being like, so when's the collaboration with Deerstalker coming then? You guys have really got to team up. You got to do a thing together.
We get that so much, and I'm quietly just really chuffed that you have to get it too now.
Yeah, it's gonna happen a lot.
I don't think people in the rest of the world realize that New Zealand and Australia are
not the same
quite
place.
separate. They're like, the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I was talking with the Viva guys.
As the US and Canada, right?
Yeah, they're just immediately next to each other.
Go for
New
a little
Zealand's just
wander.
a territory of Australia.
We're West
The
Island.
other way around. Yeah, we're the West Island.
Yeah, the other West Island. That's right.
Definitely.
So yeah, I was talking with the Viva guys earlier today after we did a Facebook Live to promote the D&D Logic starting tomorrow, and we were saying like about the possibility of a crossover and how amazing that would be if we had like a when the world finally comes back to normal. We were like, wouldn't it be funny as hell? It wouldn't be a good return on investment, but it'd be funny as hell to fly us out there or fly you here and just have our party and your party in just like one cutaway, just like crossing in the street.
We're not even just like one to post it.
Just running down the street. Come back here! And then in the background, One for All's party runs the other way, and then we film it from your perspective as well. You're filming a thing, and you run down this way.
Oh,
and the
it'd be
Viva party
so good.
I mean, we've got green screens.
You'd have to link it to like both episodes. Like one of your episodes has that with your party going that way, and then our party, and it's just that one same shot.
But it'd be a literal crossover, like
a literal crossover.
What is this? A crossover episode?
One day.
One day.
We didn't get to ask Tom the story of how his character came about.
Yeah,
no one
We
cares.
didn't even talk about Baywatch yet.
Oh, wow. Okay, this is a lot of
That's
stuff.
back.
Lovely. I mean, I'm in the book. That's
Get the player's handbook.
I'm in the player's handbook.
Okay.
This is the people have been linking
What
this.
page is it?
I don't
You remember?
know.
You should know this.
You should know. It's page
Think about it first.
Goldie knows this.
Turn to Bard. Turn to Bard.
Isn't it the entertainer background?
It is the entertainer. Yeah.
There he is.
There he is.
Basically the same guy.
I used to work in a game store, and
So you modelled for this?
Yeah, waiting for my royalties. Thank you very much for listening to the guys. I used to work in a game store, and like people used to link this to me all the time. And every now and then, I get one smart ass character. I think they call people in real life.
I call them extras.
Extras.
NPCs.
We'll come up and be like, "Oh my god, you know that you're in the player's handbook." I'm like, yeah, I guess. Do you want your purchase or not? But basically, I think that was the guiding hand in what forced Elliot to choose me. There was really no way out of it.
He's like, oh damn, he's in the book. He's got it.
Checkmate.
So which came first then? Knowing you wanted a bard in the party, or knowing you wanted Thomas in the party?
I mean, Thomas is a bard.
Yeah,
it's just
so you're like,
not mutually
I want the
exclusive.
composition to be this, and a bard. Oh, therefore I'm going to choose Thomas. Or was it like, we've got Thomas, therefore he's going to be a bard?
We had a Thomas, and so we had to have a bard.
And then you had to be a bard. Yeah.
Which wasn't my choice. I was like, oh, cool. Can I be like a, I don't know, ranger or something? And they're like,
He's like, no, I don't think you can act. So we're going to hedge our bets.
Yeah,
We haven't had a ranger yet. That's a good point. Elliot, get on that.
That's true.
not allowed to be me, apparently.
Spoilers.
And then I'm like, oh man, can I be like an Asimir? And he's like, nah.
You're gonna be a human
We've got something more
man.
exciting for you.
You're lucky you get a different name.
That's actually a question I was going to ask. How come all of the players have different names to the characters except for Eva?
Yeah.
What's that about?
I think we kind of I came up with Nixie first, and then we kind of realized that the fantasy name and the tabletop name character were kind of ended up being sort of similar. So it was like Nixie first, then Nicole, as the tabletop character. I'm not sure.
And then Antrius and Antonio.
Oh, Antrius was an old LARP character I used to play.
Right, so it was Antrius that you were like, oh, I'll take that name from the LARP character, and then you were like, oh, well, I'll go with this Nixie Nicole thing and make him Antonio.
Yeah, I think Goldie and Elliot gave us the instructions for that. They're like,
yeah, well,
Correct
we really underestimated our audience, thinking that they couldn't remember more than like one name. So it's just like, it's kind of like the Power Rangers. Like they've got the same color clothes that they're wearing at the tabletop and in the fantasy world, and they got a very similar name. So it's like, people will hopefully.
Elliot, you say that, but people still think I've been replaced like 15 times.
You are the biggest transformation between player and character at the time.
Don't know what I'm talking about.
Even
That's
between
why we
tabletops.
needed 14 different actors to play Nixie. Yeah.
That's why we hired Vinny.
Yeah.
Oh, even between
What was it,
episodes,
like the
people will be
12th
like,
Nixie?
"That's a different actress now."
Yeah.
We've had it in the comments. We don't know why.
With the names though,
Do people
it's
know
quite
they can
funny.
go back and watch earlier ones to like check for themselves?
That's too many clicks.
It's just every now and then it's like very common. There's a comment being like, "Did they replace Nixie again?" I'm like,
Still me.
where's this coming from?
Sorry, Eva, you were saying something.
I was just saying because I'm the only one that has my name in it, but
Yeah.
I think from memory, Elliot was like, "Hey, can you come up with a name that's like a fantasy version of your name?" And for the script, and I was like, "Cool. Well, Eva, so we'll go Evandra. That sounds cool." Not realizing that Avandra was a goddess in actual D&D world, so that's pretty cool. But so I was like, "Yeah, Eva, Evandra," and then I think it turned out that Tom was like, "Yeah, I want to be Andreas," and Elliot was like, "Well, I need to come up with a name that matches Andreas."
Antonio, that'll
It was that or Anthony.
Antonio.
Oh, I'm so glad I'm not Anthony. Originally, the character, and this is problematic, and I'm so glad you didn't let me use it, was the character was called Antreus, son of whores. And the concept, well, the concept was he grew up as like as an adopted son in a whorehouse, and it was like he never knew which one was his mother, so he kind of like thought that everyone was.
See, it's not even a character. He's not acting.
and you know what? Kind of fits into what we're doing now. So.
And Pat Purser, where did that come from?
I don't know. Who the hell? I don't. It's such a unique name.
Because you've got a cat, right?
Elliot.
So it's Purser from the cat Purr, and then Matt Pat.
Yeah.
Pat,
The
the
cat
alliteration.
is Lumi, the cat who's
Cat
Eva's,
Purser or something,
is
right?
Cat Purser
Cat
in the game.
Purser.
Yeah,
He just
so
never
I
had a
was
wallet, so
the
we called him Purse.
human. So that we had that first. So then we're like, that's the human version. Humans are sometimes called people. So Pat Purser.
Pat.
That's the only thing I can think of. I'm not unaware of any other possible.
I actually have an
reference it could be.
embarrassing story about Pat Purser.
Go on.
On our I think it was actually our first day of filming. I took a picture of Kendall sitting in the DM chair doing the DM pose, and I was like, "Does anyone else think he looks like Matt Mercer?" And like tagged Matt Mercer on my Instagram, thinking, "Oh, people will be able to compare them." And then Matt Mercer liked the tweet.
Oh wow!
And then Matt Mercer followed me on Instagram, and I was like, "Goodbye."
Also,
Goodbye.
I think this is one of those things where we thought it was going to be one episode, so it was sort of like we're like, we do it once, it's fine, and then it's like more episodes. And I think that's where it turned
Sorry,
from.
Matt.
Oh no, canon.
Yeah, now. So yeah, that's why these days we just refer to them as Patrick. We don't
Patrick.
say like
It's
Pat
less
Purser
like
that much. We just say
less
Patrick.
offensive, maybe.
Yeah,
Patrick Purser.
yeah.
I will never get over someone in the comments saying that Kendall looked like Matt Mercer from Wish.
Solid burn.
What is this
And
vicious mockery?
I replied to one of those comments saying maybe Wish Matt Mercer has feelings, and they said, "Oh, did he get them from the bargain bin?" And I just went,
don't go toe to toe on the internet, dude.
Let's talk about your guest stars a little. Where did Anandale and Vlithrin and Mogdar and all those come from? And Lorien? Were they just friends of yours that were like, "I wanna be in it"? Or you're like,
bargain
Yeah, I mean, we knew that we wanted these characters in it eventually because, like, cleric, it's quintessential D&D, barbarian, all of that stuff. So the characters were kind of already floating around, and we just didn't really know who was going to play them, and we just kind of roped our friends into doing it. And obviously we got Wanyo because he's freaking huge. So, you know, you don't need to like, you know, build him up with a muscle suit or anything because he comes with it.
Green and showed up.
How naked are you okay with being? Everything that's shown will be painted green.
Yeah, our makeup artist had a fun day doing that. And yeah, I think Volithrin, you know, that was our makeup artist from the beginning. And
incredible work, by the way.
Yeah, she's great. I always say, what do I say, Tom?
Oh yeah. Okay. The best thing I ever brought to the show was Jen.
Ouch!
Where's the
Every
lie?
time. Like,
Where's the lie though?
I mean, you can't be offended if it's true, right?
no, I can't.
At least you brought
Right.
something.
All the best looks I've had on the show have been because of Jen. So yeah.
And there are some absolutely
No offense to
gobsmacking.
you, Ian, for doing the marketing
Kendall,
that one time.
I'm offended.
Like,
I did the first marking. Thank you.
Jen is is next level though. She's probably trained in it, and she's been a cosplayer since like probably longer than most of us. And she knocks out the kind of crazies that really should be blowing up bigger than they are.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's never a bad word to say about Jen.
No.
It was really amazing on season 3 because she and I worked quite closely, and getting to like marry like the SFX makeup and the costume together was the coolest thing because we really got to play off each other. So like the orc Grishnacore that Kendall got to play was such a fun one to see that come together, like doing all the costuming and then her bringing in the makeup and the prosthetics and making it all work together was so cool.
She also gave me such a relief as well because in the beginning I was having to paint myself pink, so like the whole Nixie look was just me sometimes in a park like mixing up the paint and then painting myself. I made once the mistake of asking Thomas to help paint my back, and he took that opportunity to draw a massive dick on my back in pink paint,
It's
and
still
so I
there.
never asked him again.
Yeah, I was hoping I was going to sunburn in real quick, but not enough time.
So she's honestly like helped me out so much. She actually shortened my time of having to get ready from about 3 hours down to about one and a half, maybe 2, depending.
I love that.
Yeah, no, every time, like I'm
Vinny
getting
loves
ready
that.
now. Yeah, Vinny's just like,
Yeah, I was
so
gonna say,
how long do you
that's a
think
benefit
now?
for everyone.
Vinny hasn't talked in a while. Can we talk about scheduling shots?
I was gonna get
Tell us about
onto
yelling
Vinny.
at everyone.
I was literally gonna get onto Vinny because I wanted to talk to Vinny about the scheduling of how to get the shoot done in time. Because ours was
Has to drive me there.
ours was a 10. We did 10 episodes and we shot them over 3 days. So it
Holy
was meant-
shit!
yeah,
How?
Whoa!
it was meant to be 11.
Crazy.
We just surrounding myself with.
This is the guy that
exceptionally capable
commenter is talking about. If we
This
shut
is-
up and actually worked hard.
this
like,
is-
Is that you?
Perfection.
Was that you?
people. What's that?
we have a
We just
commenter.
stop messing around.
We have
We
a
could film way more of this.
We have
Yeah,
a commenter
comment-
that's telling us
Someone on
that
our
if we-
blooper reel.
Yeah, that if we stopped fucking around, we'd actually get more done in a day, and we could like make more episodes. And we're always like, "Oh, this dude doesn't know what he's talking about. We work really hard, and then you show up on the scene."
I mean, it's true, but then also you got to sacrifice to having the fun on the set. So if you're getting out everything you want to be getting out, then you don't need to be comparing yourself to other people's schedules. But we, just to give you an example of a successful one that does it, we.
The
Whoa.
shade. The shade. Here it comes.
Fair though. Fair.
Couldn't even get through it. So we had 4 episodes planned for the first day, but we got rained out of one of them. So we decided that we'd take the all after lunch. It was just like we'll just crack on one skit and just get that done, and spend the time. Especially because that skit was going to be episode 1. So we were like we've got more time to actually focus on getting the first episode well. And then day 2 was 3 episodes, and then day 4 was another 4-episode one. But it started raining at first thing in the morning on day 3, and we were like, we've got 4 skits to do today, and we don't have another day to defer any of these skits to, so we're getting them done regardless. And so we had this whole. I saw it in your behind the scenes for the fire one as well, where it's raining and you've got an easy up over somebody and an easy up over the camera, and you're trying to shoot it in a way that you don't get the legs of the easy up in.
Yep.
Yeah, we had that whole thing going because we had a blue tiefling, a single drip of water on his face, and it streaks down his face, all of that
Oh
stuff.
no!
So brutal.
So,
Yeah.
so Vinny, tell me what's it like? What does your day look when it comes to an actual like shoot block?
I'll answer for him. It's really a pleasure to work with us.
Yeah, it goes so smooth. Like the cast like really lube up my day and just
Yeah, it's just super easy. They don't require constant whipping.
Yeah,
Such a relaxing time.
Yeah, it's a suntory time at best. No, but I mean, I think especially with Nixie's makeup schedule, and then with all the other extras or featured roles we have in. Sorry, I'm just
Fucking Loomy.
Loomy is just
Oh, no.
mouthing off the
What else
roof
star of the
language
show
right now, and I'm
really
really trying to.
demands to be here.
That answered one of my questions, which was whose is it, Lumi? But
Lumi, it's
there you
Lumi.
go.
It's always no, but I think I like to try and front load the schedule, much to Elliot's dismay.
It never works.
It
just
never works.
All
but
it does is
I
make
have
us
faith.
feel like we're behind the
Because
whole
you're
day.
behind. Because you are behind.
We are
Yeah,
behind.
that's how you manipulate them into getting the shots, man.
And then we're just
And then we're all
stressed
like,
day.
and
then we finish early.
and we get to go home, and no one.
And we cut so many corners on the way.
Yeah, but
By corners, do you mean shots?
Yeah, sure.
I have a few ace in the holes. One of them being Kendall is that I often will just put all of his shots at the end. I'm so
Right.
sorry, Kendall, and he will just knock them out the park.
I was just thinking,
we just
referring to me an ace in the hole, it just depends, which part of me is the ace and what hole we're talking
You're my
about.
Donald Trump card.
Oh.
Everyone hated that.
Ooh.
Let's check out the chat. Yeah, but it is difficult. I mean, the way Elliot likes to shoot things, we normally have just the party on one side and we do a whole flip and we turn it around. We try and keep it to that way, so we have coverage on one side and then flip it, and then we'll get everything done after lunch.
Saves moving stuff.
And it's constantly a battle of me trying to push how far lunch is with Goldie, because Goldie is a very I don't know. How would you describe it, Elliot? When it comes to
Goldie, you're in
Goldie,
the chat, Goldie. How would you describe yourself?
Yeah.
I think
Goldie's
Goldie says
very
that's a
young.
lie. We've never finished early.
Yeah, no, I was like, you guys said it. I was like, yeah, early. But no, I don't know. We always seem to manage to get it done. There has been a few days where I've been like,
Done.
I don't know. Good luck,
Good
Elliot.
luck. We're out. I'm out of here. Thankfully, it was my first time directing, and so I took on like the job of creative director, and I had a technical director on set that was like actually handling, hey, we need this shot, and this shot, and stuff. And especially on the last day when we'd already lost some of them on into rain, I wanted an extra shot for the first skit that we were filming. And I was like, oh, yeah, actually, can we just get this other shot over here? And he went to me and he was like, so what shot are we losing from the next skit then? Because you can't have it both ways. And I was like, yeah, that's a good point.
For context, everybody, as well, Goldie is our cinematographer and producer. So,
She's amazing.
Tremendous
so when
job,
Goldie wants lunch, you got to give Goldie
Gotta
lunch.
give Goldie lunch, yeah.
Or you
Tremendous
don't-
job, by
you
the
don't
way,
get the
Goldie.
movie.
The cinematography in the series is absolutely astounding. Very good job.
It's like the one good thing.
One good thing about this.
That's
I
that's
agree.
one. That's why it's called one
Sorry,
for
Jen.
all.
One for a goal, one for all.
Sorry, Jen. What do you mean? What the hell's going on?
I think as well, though, like from a production standpoint, like I think Goldie and Elliot are always quite ambitious with like the scenes and the effects and the things that we do, and that's why it looks so great. But like we're really in a lot of those locations, and there's a lot of fine tuning that's going into making everything look as good as it does too.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a part that I know Vinny has to work with. Like you did all the location organization for season 3, which was pretty huge. Tell us about musical, Vinny.
Yeah, which was my next question exactly was like, tell me about the location scouting, because that was the toughest part of my pre-production, was trying to find a dungeon in New Zealand. There's no...
You live in New Zealand!
Yeah, but we don't have dungeons.
Capital!
We don't have dungeons.
are
We don't
incredibly
have
hard to find.
castles. We don't have any history here. The entire country is like 200 years old. We don't have buildings more than 20 years old. So wanting to be like, oh, I want to be in a dingy dark dungeon like you are at the start of the musical episode. Nowhere, just nowhere
exist.
around.
I know that pain, and it is we often joke that we've picked probably one of the worst countries to be shooting a fantasy show in, because like I think we've almost used up nearly every single viable location in
We just need to shoot from different angles
in
now.
Greater Sydney. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now it's when you start going to the same locations and throwing vines on it or something.
A lot of it for us was that as well. It was like an old World War II bunker, and we were like, we can kind of shoot this wall. We can use this wall, and then we can CG that wall into something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is really helpful having Elliot, who's a bit of a VFX whiz, and also we have Ken on, who like actually composites and does a lot of the stuff, but they can transform some of our not so great locations into something like marvelous. Sorry, I just got another cat.
I think one of my favorite like locations that turned out really well visually was in the Barbarian episode. We were just under a random bridge. But it looks so cool.
It does, yeah. We really, and that was actually one thing we didn't get to do in that edit, was we wanted to jump out to a wide and show that Mogdar could have just walked around the archway and just like got in here, but like it was very bright that day, and the exposure levels would have made it really difficult to shoot out there and then have you guys under shade. But I don't know. I think I still sometimes think about that shot, Elliot, and you know.
And
What could have
just
been-
single tier, yeah.
I think
Same,
one of my
same.
favorite transformations, though, like going back to, I think it was season 2, was actually going to the Minotaurium Emporium. And like I was in a completely different room, so I had no idea what was happening, because this was actually back at Thomas's old house as well. And like I was in like off from the kitchen, and so I was getting my makeup done and everything like that. Yeah. And then I walk in and it was like, oh my God, you guys have completely transformed this room into something that looks insanely good.
I also live in a pigsty, so
Yeah,
there's 50% there.
The Minotaurium Emporium shop, I think, was just a combination of Thomas, Goldie and Elliot, and my like household items. And then we spent like an hour or two set dressing, and just we happened to own a lot of weird old fantasy crap and turned it into
incredible.
a really cool
did an incredible
set.
job. It was a hell of a
Yeah.
set. Yeah.
Fun
Just
fact,
walking
that's
in and
actually
just being
real
like-
troll urine.
Yeah, you could tell.
Harvested
got a different
myself.
sort of viscosity as it leaves
That's
his
back
mouth.
when we didn't have a lot of budget, so we're like, what have we got in our house?
Yeah, what we got here?
A candle.
Just a whole lot of my old armors and props from cosplay.
Yeah.
I love the
Kendall,
comment.
here's a rock. Pretend it's something. Kendall, here's an empty jewelry box. Pretend it's something.
It's called acting, Kendall.
Oh, he's being very quiet.
Oh,
While we're
Sam
talking
playing
about
his
that,
box.
while we're talking about that scene, plot armor. That's not useless crap. Excuse me. Deus Ex Machina plot armor. I was like, yeah, that's the
That
only
is-
useful thing
Please,
he's got
that
in his shop.
one.
That was the greatest thing anyone could have had. Yeah.
I know, and none of us took it because we're all idiots.
Yeah.
And also,
I still-
Nixie can't wear armor for shit. If she even wears like basic leather armor, like disadvantage on everything. She is not proficient.
I still love the leak-proof coat. The leak-resistant
leak-
coat.
Resistant.
I think a lot of those were Kendall. Were they your jokes? The prop ones?
No,
A lot of them were, yeah.
I think it started with us like talking after one of the tabletop days and like throwing out useless magical items, and Elliot was just kind of taking notes of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
quick, write that down.
Yeah.
The bag of holding. You have to hold
You have
it.
to hold it. Yeah, it's got no straps. So you have to hold it. That was.
Yeah, I think that was mine.
I think some of the
Like in the invisibility ring was in the script. Gravity detection rock was in the script, and I think there was one extra.
some of my favorite moments in the season are the
love of empathy.
subtle jokes, the real subtle ones that you kind of missed the first time. Like there was one in the deception one where you've just killed the king. And I think Nixie says, "Oh, I knew he looked nothing like his picture," and you don't, and you don't make like an obvious thing of it, like oh, cut away to the picture just to show it off. You can just tell from over his shoulder there's a picture of a woman.
I really love that because Elliot put that in the script. And that portrait was just on location, and it wasn't planned at all.
Yeah, I was expecting to have to VFX something in the background.
Yeah.
But you know,
But yeah, we just saw that
happened to have
portrait,
that
and
in
I
it,
was like pointing to that because we were even thinking like, what about coins, or like, you know, we were trying to like figure out like how could we possibly have his portrait somewhere.
Yeah.
And so like in the beginning, I know we were like fiddling with some coins and stuff. But yeah, as soon as that portrait was there, we were just like, that thing right there, that's perfect.
There was another one of yours, Fall, where when you're getting burned alive, and you just take your hand out of the thing to point to somebody.
That was a Nixie joke.
that was Nixie.
That's the sort of thing that was like first watch completely went over my head. It was only when I watched it a second time that I was like, wait a minute.
I
I
will always.
actually wanted to put that in for the manacles during the musical as well, like just like having it so that she could actually take her hand out of the manacle and then put it back in. That got cut out of that episode though, but I'm like, it's got to be in this one. Like, I pretty much like stood like Elliot down, was like, we are doing it in this episode.
Yeah,
like,
and I'm just like, yeah, no,
it's
happening. Just let me.
It's fine. We're on the same page.
It's funny.
Put the knife down.
One of my favorite lines that Elliot has ever written is what would a wizard be doing on the coast?
Wait, wizard be on the coast. That was.
I think that was Tom's actually.
You wrote it though?
I wrote it because Tom said it.
Oh,
And also the line. I don't know, man. All these NPCs look the same to me.
All these NPCs look the same to me.
Because
which was another thing that I missed when you've killed it's the murder hobo episode, and Kendall's rotoscoping of his face onto everybody else's face.
the baby.
That scene just goes past so quickly that you don't necessarily see it until you've watched it a second time.
The baby.
So, like rotoscoping, that was done like painstakingly with
on Microsoft
with
Paint.
literally. No, with me just like they had the reference thing, and they're like, Kendall, stand, down, right, left, right, there.
Was that done in camera?
Not in camera, but we needed to get the lighting right, so we needed to put Kendall's face where all of the people were standing, including the baby.
So you did that on the day, like through the view scope, like just being like, you need to be here. Whew.
Yeah, they're just going left, right, down, up. Yeah,
that was a long day.
Quite a few
Just that one shot.
Quite a few of those people were actually from my first D&D game as well. So there were a lot of people who like had kind of come through this whole journey with me, kind of as like I'd been texting them, being like, "I'm going to be part of this D&D show," and they're all like, "Oh, that's cute, sweetie." But then it blew up, and I was like, "Hey, do you guys want to be part of it?" And I said, "But you have to be comfortable with the fact that it's going to be Kendall's face over yours." And they were like, "Yeah, we're totally cool with that."
Nice.
Could be a worse face.
So in terms of those sorts of effects, where does the line blur between the costume and makeup and the after effects? Because I thought that in the one with the perception check where you're peeing against the bandit and there's an orc who ends up in Nixie's clothes, I thought that orc was just like in green makeup until I saw the bloopers or something after for the green screen of it, and you haven't got makeup on for it, and so you were greened out in special effects.
Yeah, that one Goldie did that in special effects. We didn't have the time on the day. Yeah.
And is that the only time it's done it? Every other time we see people in coloration, it's actually makeup?
I believe so. I think little bits are adjusted here and there, just in color grading as they always are, just skin tones and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
we got the problem going on at the Goliath's in a bald cap, and we're having to like get rid of all of the little wrinkles.
Yeah,
saw your Goliath. I'm impressed.
That's all the
effects. Really good.
Goldie
I can
is
hear
so
Jen
happy.
scream the word "seams" from somewhere out in the universe.
Goldie's so happy because I just got a new pair of ears that you can't see the seams.
Oh.
And she's just like,
Oh, yes.
Finally, some profile shots.
I think
Finally, some real fucking shots.
I think perception check was like one of the last episodes before we actually had our makeup artist Jen come on.
Right.
So basically, once we had someone who was there to be the makeup artist, we started kind of actually leaning into that more. Because just before that, we did Roll to Seduce, and I painted Kendall for that one. And then after that, we were like, we need a makeup artist.
I ain't doing that again.
Yeah, well, it's like, 2 hours on the day for makeup or 100 hours in post.
Yeah.
He's busy. Fix it in post.
I thought it was the other way around.
I think perception check
Seduce-
is third, and then
was
seduce
third.
is fourth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember because the
fifth-
tasks.
And then fifth is Murder Hobo.
Yeah,
So,
because the tasks were ridiculous. And then it was like, then I had the fangs for Marquis, but those went in without an issue.
I was going
then
to
the
talk to you
task for
about
the-
fangs next, actually, because there's a half orc in ours, and we had such trouble trying to find fangs that she could actually speak through. And like, you guys have got your incisors up the top, which makes it slightly easier, I guess. But how are you finding things sourcing like the prosthetics,
Jen made them.
the horns and the teeth?
Jen made the orc tusks. Like she's done that much SFX stuff that she casts a bunch of things as well.
Wow. And she made them for you, like for your teeth, so that they would be less likely to fall out?
They were made off the base from the ones we used in Perception Check. And then she like altered them and stuff. They were giving us issues though. So she said if there's another season, she's going to do a cast mold of my teeth.
Right.
To get that right. I think if you watch Pacifist Barbarian, I think Wanyo had his own that he's done for cosplay, and that's a whole bottom tooth bit, which includes like the teeth in the middle. So it's one piece, and that worked for him really well. And that probably would have been good for Grishtakor and the half orc.
We tried that one first, and the diction was just impossible. We just couldn't.
Oh
yeah, like our still isn't great.
Phoenixie just turned into a slight lisp, and then we were just like, hey, let's just lean into that shit.
Is that where the lisp came from?
Well, I mean, like, because
I
had these fangs from when I started doing like cosplay and stuff, and I was like cosplaying a vampire character, and so so I just already had them, and like talking them was never easy. Like, but you can enunciate around the teeth. You just need to be a bit more like jawry, I guess.
Make sure that you're trying your best.
Yeah, you just really need to make sure that you're announcing around them. But then it was like, you know what? She's already got a gap tooth. Like, let's just give her a lisp. Like, let's just make her more unfortunate than she already is.
Oh, that gap tooth makes me so uncomfortable.
I think with Grishtakor as well, which for those playing at home is the name of the orc in Pacifist Barbarian that's trying to kill everyone. Need to remember, sometimes I know the name of these NPCs, but that's never said in the episode. I remember when we were doing it.
I was watching one of the things where you were like, "Oh, and I played so and so," and I was like, "I don't remember that character." And you're like, "You know, the chef halfling." I'm like, "Oh, he had a name."
yeah. But like,
Ramsey.
I remember on the day because we were doing it, and I was just talking to Elliot and Goldie, and I'm just saying, I'm gonna have to remind you guys that I want to ADR all these voices because the screams. Like the voice for Grishtakor isn't what I had planned and is what I'd done. Being like ADHD and all that, it's like a couple months later the episode comes out and I went, oh yeah. I was like, I was supposed to chase that up. Oh yeah.
It's all right. He's dead now.
Yeah, he's dead. Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you guys got these characters as actual did you sit down and come up with the stats for them, or were you just kind of like, he's a human bard and that's all you need to know, and we'll kind of come up with what we need as we need it for the scene, as we need it for a skit?
Well, I wanted to make it really dumb and say that I had done my character sheet completely incorrectly and spec'd everything into strength, but then they're like, no, we need to do this properly. And so I think Ava and Goldie and Elliot sat down and did a lot of the numbers and crunched it out for a Patreon award.
Yeah, well, like, because we just started and they were just like kind of generic characters. Like they were never really in the beginning meant to like have like fully developed like backstories, because it was just like, it was about like the worst D&D players, like, you know, their archetypes.
And he plays himself. Thanks, man.
Yes. What can I say?
From the worst
The shoe fits.
I get slammed every time we do this.
He's never going to want to come back on board again.
Season 4?
I mean, they've got Annandale if he's not there. So.
Yeah. Right, well, thanks, man.
Just you watch.
Even Rob's working against me.
I'm going to go travel to another state or something, and then just, you know, never be in another production.
So you do now have actual stats for all of your characters, and you know what levels they are and stuff, or is it like you're still kind of just like, let's handle?
Well, we did a one shot like 2 days ago with some of them
Battle
had
Royale,
stats.
right?
But as we said in that, it wasn't canon. So
But yeah, it was still fun to come up with like, how many fire spells can Nixie possibly have?
What's your canon?
My canon. Oh, that was tough to watch. What have you done to my babies? I mean, like, yeah, to answer your question, Rob, it's like we have stat blocks, so if people want to like put the characters in their games at home, they're absolutely welcome to use those, and they pretty much work. But I never want that to like kind of, you know, get in the way of like, you know, if I have a really good idea for a script, I'm going to obviously just retcon something just to make that fit.
Yes, you were in the same page then.
It's fairly like there's like not set in stone stats, but like vague ideas of it. So like the joke that charisma is Evandra's dump stat, and none of them
has -1 to perception.
Yeah, there's no intelligence anywhere in any of the characters.
Some eagle-eyed person picked up on that. Like we showed like a sheet of Nixie, like on the like me flipping it over, and someone in the comments was like, "Hey, that perception thing doesn't say -1."
Yeah, like basically they were just like, oh, so we're gonna do a close-up of the character sheet, and so then like during shots I'm like furiously scribbling like over the sheet, just being like, what would Nicole put on this sheet? Fireball. People burning.
I did the same thing when I was coming up with the character. I was like, I need their race and their class, but other than that, I'm not even going to say what subclass they are, because if I want to write a skit about assassin rogues, but I want to write later on, I want to write a skit about thief rogues or whatever, I can just have the same rogue doing it, and it's like it's fine. It's not meant to be a through line of an entire campaign. I've written it so that like you can watch any episode individually and hopefully get it and like it and whatever. But if you do watch them in order, there's like minor things that kind of tie the whole thing into an overarching campaign.
See, that's what we did for the first 3 seasons. And especially like writing season 3, it was just like, it was kind of like more of the same. But I think just during the releasing of season 2, people just really started to genuinely like the characters more and more and more, to the point where they kind of don't want to just
likable characters. You're not meant to like them.
You're not supposed to. But it's like
you have a bit of a crossover between like D&D and a bit of like Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where it's like you just love to hate them. Like, you know?
Yeah, you really do.
We're always slightly horrified when, you know, we meet people who like the show who are like, I based my character off yours in my home game, and we're like, no,
don't.
Do you hate your DM?
This is so bullshit, because every time I hear this kind of stuff, they're like, oh, by the way, Tom's just playing himself. Oh, we really hate these characters.
These characters are such assholes.
I get no division.
Not changing my response.
To be fair, we have developed Antreus into, I think, a bit more of a character in his own right. But you know, the always singing, the always like, you know, showmanship, that was Tom.
Oh.
Sorry, Elliot, I didn't quite catch that, Elliot. I couldn't hear you over the sound of backpedaling.
Thomas jazz hands to fun.
I'd rock up to every set. I'm like, come on, dude, let's get him
in. I've got one thing I've got in my notes that I wanted to ask. The opening animation of the sack falling on the table and the dice bouncing. Whose baby was that?
We originally had Fall throwing a dice, but she can't actually throw dice, so we had to get it animated.
just couldn't.
Don't you love this? He's getting attacked, and so he just decides to deflect it off someone else.
I'm coming for you all now.
That's how the pecking order works.
Be careful, Thomas is attacking your ability to throw dice. Where is he going to go next? He's a madman.
This was the plan all along. Rob's trying to turn us against each other.
I did in fact throw those, but they didn't show up on camera because it was like little.
If you did, there'd be video evidence.
Better shutter speed.
Yeah, like, it's not my fault. I was throwing like, you know, 1d4.
Shutter angle, Vinny.
I was throwing 1d4.
Cinema camera.
Wow.
Onto the actual
cinema
star.
camera, not a photo camera. You jerk.
On what form,
watch the BTS. It's there.
I think Elliot, you came up with the opening, didn't you?
Like that was my idea. Like to have that. Because you know, every show needs an opening. It was actually my friend from high school that I've known since like a long time ago, who animated that. And you know, there was no money involved in that. It was just him in, I think, 3ds Max, just, you know, doing this stuff all by himself. And at the time, I didn't personally know any better, so that is like a roll down dice.
That was my next thing. I was like, how many times have you been told that that's a wrong dice?
Yeah, a lot.
Because even for a roll down, the 5 isn't next to the 6, and the 6 isn't next to the 7, so it's not.
But you
even
do
a roll
notice
down
that
dice.
there is a 3, 2, 1, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
that's
kind of
what a roll down dice is. So it goes
down.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there's a escape space, and then a 6 and a 7. And I was like, oh, I wonder how many millions of times they've been told that that's not a.
It came in. It came in handy for the Magic the Gathering thing.
Yes.
This was a long game.
It was the only time
is,
it made sense.
What is great about that opening though, is often when we're like shooting, there's like the little point on the script, and it's like, this is where the opening is. And we have this ongoing joke that we're just going to put Vinny in a dice suit and he's going to like barrel roll.
So every time it comes up, we're just like, okay, Vinny.
It's not a joke. We have it on order.
Yeah.
Just runs
we
into
all
a
sing
room.
the song as well. But
Oh,
none of
yeah,
us
we
know
do.
how it goes, so it's just like. Dun, 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 dun.
The things I do to be
everybody.
included.
Nobody's allowed to look or listen to a reference to it. Just have everybody in their own room just record what they think it goes like, and then put it all together.
That's it.
What was the decision behind releasing them a month apart? Like when you were deciding on a release schedule for them all, what went into deciding that?
That was a complete coincidence.
Incompetent.
Incompetence. Like, because we were just making them one at a time, and that was
It just happened to be about a month later that you were like, next one's ready.
that's how long it took. You know, a couple of weeks to write and shoot it, and then a couple of weeks in post.
It's amazing that little. Oh wow. Rob, thank you. Oh. That long,
Too
huh?
much research.
Well, at the time we were very poor, and we were just waiting for the next YouTube check to come in.
Are you still waiting for that? Yes. YouTube checks. I think mine's gotten lost in the mail as well.
It might have come through Australia first. I think they get a bit confused sometimes too.
You're exactly the same.
Yeah, obviously.
I worked at FedEx for a while, and the amount of packages sent to Austria that wound up in Sydney.
Oh God.
We had a whole department just for sending things from Austria back to,
Oh
back to
my
where they're
God.
supposed to go.
In terms of your character progressions through it, then, if we're talking episode to episode, you guys die in episode 1. Is there intended to be like a through line campaign situation going on, or are you just like anything that happens isn't necessarily canon to the next episode?
There's only supposed to be one episode.
Let's just have them all die because we're never going to get them back anyway. Oh shit, people really liked them. Oh, what do we do? Do we mention it? Do we have a resurrection episode? Oh, it seems a bit soon.
I mean, like, the thing is that we can get away with so much because, like, our show is literally just the unreliable narrator.
Yeah.
You know, any time that anybody breaks character, oh, that's actually the tabletop character breaking character. It's not a fault of the script at all.
Smart.
I'm alive?
Which is
He's alive?
which has been your favorites to actually film?
Ooh, good question.
Mine's
Definitely
controversial.
The musical was your favorite.
Musical
Vinny?
and shopping episode.
The shopping episode too.
Shopping episode was hell, dude. Shut up.
I know. That's why I loved it. I think we all lost like 2 kilos own weight just from sweat alone because it was so hot in
It looked like a hot room.
Tom's room. Yeah, it was. I was like wearing shorts and I was having a terrible time. I can't imagine what Laura and Paul and kind of Tom, but you know, it's his fault 'cause it's his house.
Yeah, that was actually my sauna room. I don't know why they chose it.
Is that
Very
your
dumb of them.
house?
Yeah, it was.
It was so timing in there that like Kendall's mustache wouldn't even stay on.
Oh yeah, I saw that a million times in the
Constantly falling off.
in the
you know?
bloopers. I'm like, just get some sticky tape or something. It's always the same side. Like,
Oh,
you just
Jen,
keep
Jen,
sticking
Jen was
it
there
back
the
on
whole
them as
time
if it's
being
gonna
like,
stay.
why is this happening?
You keep putting it back on as if it's gonna stay. I'm like, do something else.
No. It's like I would do that to hold it, and then would be like, and hold, and then Jen would come in with the bit of the official stuff that's supposed to work really well, but it wasn't.
Spirit
Yeah.
something. You got a very
we
greasy
were also
side of
pretty
your face.
lucky in that sense
Yeah,
that
that's true.
the room was colored like a kind of purplish color, so like Nixie could, like I could kind of get away with not having to have my makeup constantly retouched as well, just because
Right.
like I was sweating through it as well. But I think my favorite episode to film is kind of controversial because I really loved the Paladin episode, but I know that wasn't the favorite for other people. So
Fuck you,
like,
buddy.
it was mine. I had a blast.
That was like the longest day of my life.
I had so much of my ADHD medication right before we started filming too, and it like kicked in, and I was like, "Fucking let's go!" Like,
That was like the longest life of my life.
Be responsible with your medication, folks.
oh yeah, like I mean, I didn't take it the whole day up until we're about to start filming, and then I'm like, "It's in now."
I'm gonna ring in on this one. Like
Everybody likes
I got on set because I had to rush out with a guy, and we basically built the pyre the morning of.
Yeah, Rob.
So we designed
What's my name,
and
Rob?
yeah, I designed and we built the pyre on set, like after waking up at 8 o'clock and going to Bunnings. We get to set, and then everyone's like, "Oh, we're just having a swim. It's lovely." I'm standing there with like a drill. I'm like, "Yeah, great. Yeah, cool guys, cool, no worries." No worries.
I just have to go make a pyre.
Vinny's pulling that face, and I'm like, "Yeah, man, don't worry about it. Just have a great time. I'll be up for
I've
dinner."
been having fun on set. You haven't. Like, come on.
So some of your
I had a
favorites have
short
been
of-
some of your other least favorites. It seems.
Yeah.
That's what you remember.
I had a blast with it. Like I like at the end there, like everyone
Ow.
was dead tired. I think one of the last shots was.
I don't understand
just-
this at all.
was Nixie at the pyre. So it was like a long shot. I think that was one of the last shots, was it, Vinny?
I thought it was the first one.
No.
Like the turnaround to you on the pipe.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was one shot we had to do at the end that was kind of cut, and I'm glad that we did.
Let's not go into that. Let's not go into that.
Let's not go into that. But, like, that was towards the end, yeah.
So there was like one point where I was like, okay, let's turn around. It was like what 2-3 a.m. in the morning or something along those lines, like something stupid late.
Yeah.
And I was just like, all right, guys, don't stop rolling. Let's just get this done. And I basically just like went through the whole script, like just like being like just don't stop. Let me just keep going. Like I'm not gonna let anyone stop on this.
Yeah.
On
Let's
this
get
note,
it
it's-
all in the can.
It seems like our composer Ned's in the chat, and
Ooh.
yeah, he was in that episode.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
That plays.
Yeah,
So Ned
We had almost
composed
the
the music for the
entire crew.
musical.
Oh,
Yeah.
and all the episodes.
yeah, he's done it for all the episodes and also the sound mix. The lyrics for the musical were done by Jake Nielsen, but he did the music.
Yeah, so
Work, Ned.
Jake did the lyrics and the chords, and then
Oh, sorry, yeah,
yeah.
and
And then
then
Ned did all the rest of it, and it's incredible. Like recording that in the studio was a
Yeah,
highlight
good job.
of that season
think
for
that's-
sure.
I think that's part of why musical was one of my favorite experiences that we've had to film so far, because there were just so many different aspects that we haven't got to do yet. So like I love doing fight choreography. That was so much fun. Like it hasn't really been super viable yet because it takes rehearsal.
Yeah.
And that's like probably one of the most annoying parts of it. But it was so good to do that. And like, because I come from a dance background, I just loved it. I love learning choreography. I love getting to kind of use that in a new way. And it looks so freaking epic in the edit. Like we were seeing kind of to keep us motivated, because I think that was like a 3.5 day experience to do musical.
One episode, yeah.
Pretty grueling.
Worth it.
But Elliot would kind of show us some little little rush cuts to keep our heads in the game, and we were seeing them like
That was also for my motivation to keep going. It's
just
all worth
to
it.
make
It's
sure
all
we'd
worth
all
it.
You
be there
get about
the
halfway
next
through
day.
day 2 and you're like, where am I?
This was
I've lost
third
sight of the
week
start of the
on-
tunnel. I can't see the end yet.
One of
Just in
the
darkness.
funny things about, like, we had this one really epic shot where we like come out, we're all in our new costumes, it's like swiveling around, but there was like this one thing that kept happening with my coat where like when I flicked it back, it would either sometimes like flip over my head and all that sort of stuff, but one of the ones where I actually got my hand stuck in my coat actually made it to the final cut, so you can actually see like a moment where I'm actually struggling to get my hand out of it so I can start casting. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm glad that was stayed in because that's still hilarious. Like Nixie just being like, "Oh fucking,"
You know what? In that same shot, the one that we ended up using, like Tom, sorry, but you were like, half a meter away with your kick.
Air kick.
Yeah,
Air kick,
look,
yeah. But
it's
it's
fine.
just such a powerful kick that it just
Force
blew him
kick.
away.
I got a couple of those that I've got to deal with in the edit where big axe strikes, but we shot it from this angle, and it's like, oh no,
that is
that's
a
not the
very
angle to
safe
shoot that.
strike.
I'll be like, yeah,
That
I've got to put in an effect that comes from the axe, and whoa, he's casting a spell with his axe.
That was a really cool
Get a
experience.
fire choreo, guys.
too.
That's the thing. Yeah,
Yeah, like
they know these stuff.
learning the difference between like stage fight choreo and film fight choreo is so interesting because from
And
the
who
actor's
taught you
point
that?
of view, you're just like, yeah. Kendall was a huge help teaching that. Thank you,
you.
Kendall,
Here we go.
for
Always,
doing
everyone
this. I've
always
got to read it
shouts
as
out
well.
everyone else for doing that stuff on the thing, and everyone's like, okay, yeah, all right,
Kendall
yeah,
really
I helped
helped
in
us
no way.
with that.
I've got to
Thank
ring
you,
in on this one as
Kendall.
well. That was. I contributed fair amount.
And
to this
Tom
as well.
Quite a
helped
bit.
with.
And,
Oh my
and
god!
Tom
Let me
brought us
just.
Jen, which was really nice.
Tom really
I
helped
was
me
helping
with
in
the
spirit as
water.
well.
While we're on set.
Tom and I did a great little trade because Tom's
King
got
Tom.
like combat experience and swordcraft experience, and so like was really able to help me sort of bring in a lot of those moves. And then I was teaching him how to like flourish
Sachet.
and sashay and do those little moves.
I had a red flag.
Yeah, Kendall had a red flag. Every single thing we did, it's like, nah,
Yeah.
can't do that.
We worked out a system at the end where it was mostly Elliot and Tom dealing with the how to make it like look nice and do the really cool fight choreo stuff, and then we had Harrison and
Josh.
Harrison and Josh as the stunties / martial artists,
Yeah.
people like that, and then we just worked out. I'm like, I don't want to be another voice in here, but I have like done a course in this,
You
like
did
as
do
someone
that.
learning it and stuff. So I'm just going to sit here with this red flag, which was actually Eva's sweat cloth, and I didn't know. I just saw a red thing, and I'm like, this is mine. And I just sit there, and then would see something, I just like hold it up. I'm like, no, we're not doing that.
Safety officer Kendall.
You'd swing it in a
Take on the
spiral
road.
so that it splashed you,
I
and
just,
everyone
like-
would got to turn.
So it was like, it's like, oh, how about we do this? I just hold it up and go,
Yeah.
Which is terrible because, like, again, I guess coming from more of a stage performance background, we're just more like, yeah, let's do it. It'll be great. Doesn't matter. Throw me on the ground. I love it.
Good way to
It
get
will
injured.
matter. It will matter.
Yeah.
Well,
By the
people
fifth
on
take
stage
will
who are
matter.
breaking their legs and things, and they have to cancel the play halfway through. Sorry. Anyway,
That
They
it
do
was
say
that.
break
That's
a
the
leg. I
experience.
mean, what are people supposed to do?
break a neck.
Yeah, do it once, do it right.
What's the is there, and this is definitely a question for Vinny as well, is there a particular type of skit that is harder to get through the shooting of for any particular reason? Like
Shut up.
You
one-
just bring
one
this
that's-
on yourself.
one
Yeah,
that's,
I
one that's
wasn't
heavy
even
on any
gonna go
particular person's dialogue maybe, or
Teleprompter.
what's the
Yeah.
hardest skit to shoot?
I mean,
Not necessarily out of the ones that you've done like specifics, but like what's the hardest type of skit? One that's like really dialogue
Are you
heavy,
doing
or
some
one that's...
research here, Rob?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
that is a good question. Elliot, I'm happy for you to also jump in if you have thoughts on this, but I would
I do.
say,
Goldie, answer in the chat.
I mean, I think we're still pretty inexperienced with doing stunts, so we always take that a little bit slower.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I'd have to get back to you on that. Elliot, you go first because I'm
haven't
going to
like
pass.
found in your experience like the dialogue heavy scripts are the easiest or the hardest or whatever. There's no difference between there's ones with lots of action or ones
Just
with
say
lots
it, dude. Don't be...
I think the
Look,
scripts
yeah.
that have like a lot of lines belonging to one character,
Those
and
are
it doesn't
the
matter who that character is. They take a long time to get through.
whoever he is. Whoever that character
Oh,
Vicious mockery.
Elliot tends to give Nixie a lot of lines that have like S's in them just to show off that
Asbestos.
list. Yeah, asbestos. But there was one episode in particular, especially when Nixie was old, where they gave me one word and I somehow struggled with that one word, and I was meant to say accomplishment, but I kept saying achievement instead. And the thing is, the latex from my makeup, which made me aged up, the ammonia from that was actually getting into my contacts. And so while I'm laying in this bed, I've got like tears like coming down my face from like my eyes just getting so irritated. And I was like, oh, okay, good, we got the shot done. And they're like, so you said the word wrong, so we're gonna have to redo that whole thing again. And I'm just like, it's my bad, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna just pull the bedclothes right over my mouth when I say the word, and then I'm gonna ADR the word later.
Yes.
Why didn't we do that?
Big brain.
One of my greatest accomplishments.
and it's Thomas's ADR as well. Kendall, little Dixie in that scene, probably the most fun, right? What's been your most fun NPC to play?
Kill It, obviously, and I
was gonna say,
apologize.
Kill It's one of my favorites.
I apologize to all of New Zealand for the accent. But I apologize to any country on which I try to do an accent from, to be honest.
And some of them don't even have a country that they belong to.
Yeah, sometimes like, what accent's that? I'm like, Neverwinter.
A few people have said that about some of my characters. I'm like, I'm not trying. They're like, oh, that's a terrible German accent. I'm like, not. It's not German. It's Goliath.
Yeah,
you can't tell me it's
enough.
a terrible Goliath accent because I'm making it up.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I think Kill It's been the funnest character to do, just personality-wise. And then the other ones, like Louis from Vicious Mockery, who's the knight in all the armor, just because that was the first time in plate armor, and that felt fun. And there was that really small fight scene with Eva.
That was fun.
It was really quick, just only a couple moves in it, but it was good. I think, yeah. And then Big Bad, obviously.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Because
comfortable costume though. That one.
I mean,
if it was a cold day, yeah.
More than you'd think. I mean, we took a lot of considerations into it, but really, I think the makeup took like 2 or 3 hours, and then I just came in for like the last hour and a half or something of shooting with the costume on, like hour and a half to 2 hours or something. So I wasn't really in it for that long.
It was so funny with that one because we really put that thought into making something that would be like sourcing and making something lightweight and that would be okay and everything. And then it was so hot that day. But I think we had everyone was really on top of keeping Kendall cool in that one. So that was really good.
They should have been on top of keeping Eva cool.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, you're the one
was a
who
rough
nearly had
day.
heat stroke. Yeah.
Heat exhaustion. Very
Sorry.
different.
Yeah, sorry.
Very
Yeah.
different. Yes. Hot days don't mix well with.
And the fun thing is, we were supposed to shoot it the previous day, but there was a weather forecast saying there was like a 95% chance of it going to rain or something.
Right.
Yep.
So we cancelled it, and it was
No
perfect.
rain. Yep.
It was the greatest
times
day.
that's
It was the
happened.
greatest day for shooting, and we're just outside.
Yeah.
The
like,
Viva
the
guys have
worst
said
day.
before. The Viva guys have said before that regardless of what the weather forecast says, you turn up, and then only when it's raining do you go, okay, let's cancel. Because the number of times it's happened to them, apparently it's insane.
Yeah, I think that would have been a good thing if we didn't have the full 30-person
Yeah.
crew
Everybody has to
situation.
get
I think
out there.
we were shooting.
Is that Ben? How's it going? Ben Van Leer from Viva's in the chat. So,
Oh, hey Ben.
Hey, Ben.
Hey, Ben.
What were we?
Big fan.
We were shooting Long Rest, and
Long rest.
having
Long
this
rest.
discussion.
Long rest.
and
Go on,
having this
put it out.
and having this discussion while we were shooting. It's just like, get this shot, cut this. We've had it reversed. By the way, what's it looking like for shooting tomorrow? Like 95% chance of rain. Okay.
Poor Vinny.
Should we turn up or should we do it? I don't know. We need to get the next shot. Think about it later. And I'm just like sitting there on my mark going,
We're having full breakdowns because it's a lot of money and we'd have to maybe drop a whole episode. And we only have 6 of them. I'm sure you mentioned that you had to cut
we had to cut
one of your
and then
babies.
it was all right, that'll be season 2.
Yeah, it's devastating.
It's pretty sucky because I've put so much time into the script and the pre-production for the script and coming up with the costumes and things and the props and things that are needed for that script, and I'm like, oh well, it's not this season.
But
Well,
luckily, we
at least
pushed
you
it
know
back
that
to
it's
the
like
day after,
it's fine. It's gonna be fine.
which was which was the hottest day we filmed on.
Yeah.
on the beach, not a cloud in the sky, direct sunlight.
The glare from the ocean was like a surprising challenge.
Oh, there were these scenes where we had to look, and I remember Tom and
It's like
I
look out on the ocean. I'm like
looking, and then like tears coming down.
This was one of the only times that having scleras actually really worked well for me as well. Was the fact that they were like, "Oh my god, there's so much glare," and I'm like, "Where?"
Yeah,
Where's
you were
the glare?
and we were getting sunglasses in, and then we'd be like, "Okay, action." We're like,
Yeah, you've got. All right, are you ready? Are we all focused?
Oh, we did that one.
You've got 2 seconds. Ready? 3, 2, 1, action!
and Goldie'd be like, "Eyelines, eyelines." And I'm like,
what eyelines?
Just like
I don't see anything.
The actual,
My favorite bit.
Oh, sorry. Keep
No,
going.
you go. No, you go.
Oh, I was gonna say the other really cool thing about scleras is I'm actually short-sighted, so I actually can't see that far away. But I realized halfway through filming season 2 that the scleras actually acted as an extra lens on top of my eyes, and I actually can see really clearly through my scleras. So they actually helped me out so much, because there would be times that, you know, if I couldn't see far away, like I would just be like, I can't see what you're doing, like I can't see what you're making out. But like with these, I'm like, oh, I can see leaves on trees again. This is incredible.
Yeah.
So they have their ups and downs.
There's a
Scleras.
little bit of room for error though with Nixie's eyelines with just like, you know, the obsidian black.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
just
that's
like
like
Camera.
let's
I'm
go for
not
it.
looking at the camera.
I just saw a really fun comment in the chat that was like, "That sounds like an amazing filming day. I love the heat in the ocean." And it's like, the ocean's great, but when you're standing next to it on the
No,
rock, wearing
ocean is not great.
layers and layers of armor and velvet and
This wasn't a
makeup
Baywatch.
and no.
Yeah. Vandra is dressed for hunting in Russia for that.
Okay, no. The ocean is not great. It is full of things that want to kill you, and they will try.
Yeah, we
Okay,
know more about
stay out of
scleras
it.
in the ocean.
Pitch pop.
Stay out of it.
Oh man, no. It was a good
Yeah.
fun day.
Oh
Do
yeah,
you-
but I was
do
going
you
to say my
shoot-
favorite thing that day was having the Dimmu Borgir style makeup on, and then just like track pants, and then walking past these hippies doing like this fire dancing dawn thing, being like, and like filming themselves doing it, and then just be like,
That's almost as good as the
We
cultists
thought we
in
were
the
the most interesting
cemetery.
people on the beach.
They were
Yeah.
cultists in
Oh.
the cemetery.
yeah, we
That
shot
was-
long
that was
rest at a
bad.
cemetery, so we were.
And we had to take the cultists past like a funeral that was happening.
Oh god.
Yeah, that whole set had some potential issues.
You'll pay.
That's all right. Nobody saw the tiles on the floor.
Don't bring it up. Don't bring it up. Don't bring it up.
Oh,
he's
God.
great.
But honestly, yeah, big
It's Buddhist.
BBG. How good is that?
It's
I
Buddhist.
feel as though we cut you off there before, Rob. What were
Do you
gonna
shoot?
say?
Do you shoot the whole table session, the whole script at the table, and then shoot the whole script in the costume, and then only in edit, sort of decide when you're going to have the cutaways and things, or do you have written into the scripts like this line's at the table, this line's?
Yeah, it's very specific, like what's at the tabletop and what's not, because I think like we already struggle to shoot. You know, some of the scripts are like 5 or 6 pages long,
Yeah.
and like on a good day, you're looking at like, you know, maybe 4 max. So like we're not going to shoot the extra sort of like 1 or 2 minutes, because it's just a waste of time.
Yeah, I figured that would be the smart way of doing it, but I just saw that in the in a lot of your behind the scenes and bloopers and stuff, I see bloopers of lines being said at the table when it ended up in the edit. It was
That's
and I was
because
like-
we're ADHD as fuck and we can't keep concentrating on
Yeah.
like one thing at a
I
time.
know
I was
what
like,
it-
surely they
Oh,
don't
yeah,
shoot
oh, yeah.
the entire thing twice
That's the reason.
and then splice.
Because we started doing bloopers because people really wanted to see
yeah.
them. So it's just like we would just roll the first rehearsal of the
Right.
day, and we would
Smart.
just, to make sure everybody's on the same page, we just, you know, rehearse the the fantasy days,
Whole days of rehearsal, if you're honest.
basically.
Quite funny. It's quite funny too, because like we were mentioning about that comment about stop messing around and then like do it properly. But then when we didn't have so many bloopers from season 3 because everyone was really professional, people are like, we missed the bloopers. Why aren't there more bloopers? It's like, because we were trying to be real actors.
We were being better.
We were being good.
You need to just fake it. Fake some bloopers. Like you get to halfway through the day, you're like, oh, we haven't really messed up. We need to Have a real mess. Oh, what can the
Point the camera and you go, "Hey, be funny," and you're like,
Write some
I
bloopers
actually
as
am
well.
curious, Rob, as well. Like how, like you're saying that you're filming like 11 in like a couple of days. Like how long are your skits? Like how long are the scripts?
I'd love to hear
4
that
minutes.
too.
So each script is between 3 and 5 pages. Most of them are around about 4. And
Wow.
rule of thumb, about a minute a page. So they'll all be
Yeah.
about 4 minutes.
And all in the
That's
one
incredible.
location or multiple locations?
We split them into 3 days. Each day was one location. So we have a location of forest stuff. We've got a decent forest location that they've used a bunch of times. So we were like, oh, the skit about the goblin camp can be in the forest. The skit about the attacked by orcs can be in the forest. This and that and the other. And then there was another location that was all set in a. This was the hardest one because it was meant to be in like dungeons and a dragon's cave. And eventually we were like, cathedral, that'll do. So we got the interior of a huge church, and we filmed.
"We need somewhere where people hoard treasure."
Wow.
Inspiration.
Put it in the church. They don't pay tax.
Whereabouts?
So yeah, we managed to film 3 of them in various rooms of a church where they'd filmed it before, because the vicar is a real big Viva la League fan.
Oh, sorry.
And
he's
he's not going to be on my chat, is he? He's not one of the 180 people that are watching the chat. It's fine.
Can I just ask, Rob, that church, because I saw it in the trailer, is that the one? Is that based in Auckland by chance?
It is, yeah.
I think I've been to that.
It's an Anglican church,
yes.
like right in the city centre. Yeah.
Yes, I
That's
think
where
I've
Vinny
been
was
to that for my
baptised.
cousin's wedding. Yeah,
Oh, cool.
yeah. Because I'm half Kiwi, so I often go there.
The one thing that they said is that they didn't want me to do. I had to rewrite a blood sacrifice that was going to take place, and they were like, maybe that bit's a bit much, and I was like, it has to be blood though. It must be blood. So I had to rewrite the blood sacrifice. But other than that, they were like,
Your religion is based off this. You
Yeah,
drink
exactly.
blood once a week.
That's what I was saying.
It's a wine sacrifice.
It's a wine sacrifice. That's another issue. I was like, can we pitch it as like wine sacrifice? So yeah, they let us shoot
He is
that.
our
And then
savior. Eat his flesh and drink his blood.
And then the other location was in the same location that we shoot the Viva La Dirt League actual campaign that we run on the D&D channel, which is like it's like a resort sort of a manor thing. It's all kind of old looking building and really nice wooden structures and such. And they had a whole bunch of different rooms that we were like, oh yeah, we can shoot in this room for this scene, and we can kind of make this one look like a tavern. And
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, that's so good.
so keeping the locations
Smart.
together was a way that we managed to get like, all right, 4 skits. We're in this room until like halfway through the morning, and then we've got to have that done. Move into this room, finish off the morning before lunch.
Do you shoot the different skits like simultaneously, or do you kind of just go through one at a time?
It was one at a time. It was definitely skit by skit. Make sure we've got all of these shots from this skit, and then move on. And it was arranged in such a way that the last skit of the day was the one that was the most droppable if we had to. If we were really behind on time.
Fair enough.
If we were really behind on time, we lose this skit kind of thing.
Call it a corner, because we always cut corners. I love the chat as well, is like trying to argue where the closest place with castles is. Someone's like, come to Scotland, we have castles. Like, no, Wales is closer. Someone's like, aha, Sweden is technically even closer than that.
Yeah, somebody was saying before, like when we were arguing about who's got the castles and stuff, and they said, oh, so for your crossover, you all need to come to Europe.
Well, I mean,
Sure.
Really convenient.
Like there was one of those events that's like cosplayers and photographers all go to a place, and it was in, gosh, it was like some European country, and old mate just has a castle in his backyard.
oh, was it Romania? Like I think they went to
No,
Romania.
it wasn't
Poland.
Romania. No. It was the one that has the
Makes me
bone
cry.
church.
Yeah, I know the one you're
Czech-
talking about.
Czech Republic, Prague.
Prague, that's it.
Yeah.
And there's just a guy who had he had a church ruin, a castle ruin on his property, and he bred wolves. And he was like, yeah, let's pour some petrol on the church and light it on fire, and you can hold these wolves. And
Ooh.
It's
That's dicey.
genuinely like that. Like in the UK, the history is so old that you can just be like, oh, you need a church? Yeah, my granddad's got a church down his place. Should we use that church? That church? Do we need that castle? Should we use those ruins? Oh, there's another castle that's a couple of miles down that way.
I mean, there is one castle ruins in the Blue Mountains just outside of Sydney that I've been begging Elliot to let me try and conduct a shoot there, but it would be illegal because it's.
And now you've said it on stream.
But the ownership of it is so disputed.
There's now evidence.
I don't know. I feel as though just who's to say?
But it's covered in
grass when there's footage of you saying.
Little gorilla.
I mean, I'm being recorded right now. Where?
I mean, there's behind the scenes of like Terminator. I think when they were admitting to how much of that was gorilla shot and stuff. They're like, wait, where'd you do it? Wait, what again? Like you didn't
they might
know.
kick you off the
didn't get us at
property
the time.
afterwards, but by then you've got it in the can.
Yep.
Yeah.
We nearly had an amazing location that was basically a castle for musical, and then government red tape ruined that.
Yeah. They play with my heart. They were like, yeah, totally, man, we'll let you do it. And then like 3 weeks out from season 3, they told us that they weren't cool with us filming. So we had to like change the whole shoot block schedule and like scramble to find. We ended up doing the musical across 3 different locations because of it. But
and how short was the time between getting the location for Paladin and the previous location? Was that one that was cancelled late note as well, or
no? Paladin was actually one of the ones I got in the bag. Probably towards the start, I think. Just the guy.
My wires must have crossed for a second. I thought that was a last minute thing.
It was at Paladin that I had confirmation the musical next week was going ahead.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
I was like, okay, cool. We're shooting there legally.
For anyone who doesn't know, Paladin was filmed at an amazing, like, 200-year-old church that is an Airbnb.
The first church built in New South Wales, wasn't it?
Wow.
I think so, yeah.
In New South
They're
Wales.
still burning people at the stake.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh,
Staying true to its roots.
And it
can tie people to beds there.
Yeah, it was amazing. Like, so we all picked our rooms, and there were like 5 or 6 bedrooms, which the actors got. Very fancy.
Maybe I shared.
And I picked this this random room down the front that was like the old monk or priest quarters. And it's like this stone room with this big old brass bed, and it had like 100-year-old manacles on it.
And then someone was like, let's see if they lock.
Let's see if they
Someone was like, I'm just going to put myself in these and see what happens.
Guess which bloody dickhead did that.
Yeah, on the first thing they do, as soon as we arrive, is lock themselves to a bed, and there is no key to these 100-year-old locks. And we're just like, cool. We've got a few hours till we start rolling up. So
we were in the pool. We just left it there.
Lockpicking check.
So yeah, I was locked up to a bed. Thomas was making a pyre, and the rest of them were in the pool. It was a fun time.
I was on my way
before I even got there.
Yeah, we were in a car ride up. Yeah.
Yeah, we were in a car.
So you're getting 11 episodes in 3 days. I bet you didn't have this kind of glory, did you?
Did you have to cross a river by barge to get to your location?
No, we did not.
No, it's all ran really smoothly, and we're quite professional. So yeah, no, we did it.
Yeah, we need to up our game.
We need only 3 locations.
Yeah. Let's find a location where we can film 4 of the skits.
I could just imagine you handing only 3 locations to Elliot and him just like immediately throwing it away.
I need a new one.
It's just like
no.
Nope.
I've just noticed the time, and we've been going for 2.5 hours. This has been an absolute blast, but we haven't talked about season 4 or your Kickstarter. So let's promote that a little more. What can you tell us? What's some teasers about season 4? If you guys are tuning in and you haven't been here the whole time, welcome. I've been completely neglecting the chat. I have been semi-reading some of the things you've been saying, so thank you very much for being here. Thanks for all of the hype that you've been given. These guys are the lovely folk from Deerstalker Pictures, One for All, the Dungeons and Dragons skit series on YouTube. You should definitely check them out. You should also check them out individually at their tags under their names. And underneath me here, you can see that they've got a Kickstarter going for season 4, raising the monies for the next season, and they're up to 6 episodes. And what else has been funded so far of the Kickstarter? What stretch goals have you got? You're going to be doing 6 episodes. Have you got any like wacky NPC characters that are coming or anything? Like I think that was an initial goal, wasn't it? Like to get of one of your early things to get Kendall dressed as a Furbolg. Was it like a stretch goal for something? Wasn't it?
We've already done that.
Yeah, I'm
Let's
saying
do
that was like a
Again.
stretch goal. Have you got any similar things? Like this time,
yeah.
if you reach a certain number, you're going to get Kendall as an Aarakocra or a Tabaxi.
One of the stretch goals we have was to actually do a live play one shot
Nice.
with our characters, actually as a story, not just
Yeah.
killing each other in like the murder.
And see
barely
if,
killed
see,
each
if,
other.
see if they're actually a
Hashtag-
viable party.
Hashtag
Yes.
unicorn flesh golem.
What?
So yes, that was our 100k goal, which
And
we
you smashed
smashed,
that?
which is awesome. So we're
Nice.
going to be doing a live play. But I think
what
we've
level
got
do you reckon you'll be?
that's up to Kendall.
9.
Level
I don't
9.
know.
Level 9 is actually a
Level
pretty
nine.
good level to do it at. Level 12's pretty powerful.
I don't know. It's called
12
one.
is bonkers.
It's called one for all. So maybe it should just be level 1. I don't know.
But Elliot, I think you had down that we might see some returning characters or new characters coming.
Yeah, so you might see an old face reappear. I don't want to say too much about it because, I mean, obviously, COVID is kind of being a bit difficult just now. So I don't want to like make too many promises that we can't deliver on. But there will be some new characters and there will be some old characters coming back.
As a super stretch goal for people who A, love the characters and B, hate Kendall, you should have one of the goals be just a scene with every one of his NPCs in it. just so that he has to be playing all of the different characters all next to each other.
It'd take less time to shoot than dialogue with the other 3.
Oh, that's not a lie.
Oh.
I suppose it wouldn't just be a hate Kendall. It would be hate Kendall and the makeup department and the costume who have
Poor
to actually
Jen,
put him
come
in and out of all of these things.
Oof.
Just no other actors, just Kendall.
That was actually the original pitch of the series.
Kendall for all.
Just Kendall does all. One for all. One for all the
We
characters.
zoom out.
Kendall for all.
Alone
I have the least followers of everyone. That was how you would destroy the viewer count on one for all episodes.
I think people just don't realize how much you're in it.
So what else can we tell us about season 4? What we got in store?
Yeah,
Well,
Elliot.
I think we're all going to be in it.
I think.
I haven't.
I for you, Nixie.
I think you're going to be in it.
Together
Well,
and casting me again.
the first episode is
Yet
called
to sign
TPK.
anything.
Elliot, can I ride a horse in season 4?
TPK 2.
TPK 2, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna strap a few cats together and
It's
Kendall
Kendall,
ride past.
Kendall as a horse, and
Kendall as a
I'm
horse
just going to
would be
ride
great.
him.
Oh,
I've had this ongoing campaign. I'm like, can I ride a horse on the show, please? I want to ride a horse.
It's
Which
just-
is just, now they're like, how do we make Kendall a horse?
Can we make
Yeah.
Kendall a horse? Oh,
It's probably
that would be good.
easier money-wise than getting you to actually ride a horse on
There's-
screen with
I mean, there's,
all that's
um,
needed on an official thing.
There's the Instagram filtery thing that you sort of smile and it turns you into a horse, right? So it's capable of doing it. Just get him to do that and then take a screenshot and use that on the horse.
That was actually, if
be-
we didn't
I'd
get
just be
funding, we were just going to
BoJack
film it all on
Horseman all day.
Snapchat.
If you put the Kickstarter up and you get like $12 and you're like, all right.
Yeah, that's it. Snapchat series it is.
Just putting my hand over an open flame. Nothing on the inside, nothing on the outside.
Whoa.
What's this unicorn flesh golem that people are saying in the chat? What's that about?
Well, someone didn't watch our stream the other night.
What, was it the battle royale?
Yeah, it happened at the end
I
of
was
the
in
battle
there for a little
royale.
bit. I was streaming, bro. I'm a highly successful D&D nerd full time. I got my own shit to do.
Yeah, you
popped
probably
in.
saw me butchering all the rulings and were like, this guy again.
I popped in, and I think the first thing I said was, so somebody said, "Can I ready a movement?" And you were like, "No, you can't ready a movement." And so I said, "Actually, you can ready a movement. Who the fuck is this DM? He sucks. You should get a new DM or something like that." And then somebody else in your chat was like, Are you being sarcastic or rude?" And I was like, bit of column A, bit of column B.
Should get a new DM. Season 4, Robert's our new DM.
I mean, what NPCs would you want to play?
It's never mentioned either.
That would be amazing.
Nobody
Just
ever
have one
refers to it.
shot is Rob instead of
keep,
Pat.
You just keep referring to me as Pat.
Never explains.
That'd be great.
The rest of us replace
if
with
you want
Auntie
a
Donna.
bit of a, actually, to be honest, I've just linked you a fan art that was made of the final battle, and I want you with no context to explain what you're seeing.
Okay. I think it's gonna ruin the.
Kind of like a Rorschach test. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna ruin everybody's pictures
Oh,
for a
God.
second while I open the chat.
Someone-
being spliced.
Someone said-
Spliced by nature.
Someone said, "Cough. Sphere of annihilation in a bag of holding. Cough."
Don't know what you're talking about. I've never broken a game. All right. So holy shit. Okay. That's clearly Mogdar. That's clearly Mogdar, and this is okay. There's so it's a unicorn, but it's almost hippo-like, and then it's got a dead dwarf on its shoulder as an arm, maybe not on its shoulder. Its right arm is a dead dwarf, and then there's that's the Triton. It's got its arm. It's got its left arm up a Triton's bottom. It's got its right foot in the mouth of an elf, and then that's gonna be the wall Anandale. That's in its left foot is so it's wearing Anandale through the mouth like a boot right up to the knee, similar to an elf on the right foot.
It's called hoofing.
Does it have its
Dude.
Is its arm being replaced by a dwarf, or has it got its arm in a dwarf?
That's Andreas. Thank you very much.
Is that Andreas?
It's Armtrius.
Why has he got such a glorious beard? He's got a very glorious beard.
You
Anyway.
leave him alone.
It's part of the Wild Magic Church. You grew a really cool beard.
He had a belt of giant dwarven strength.
Look,
Dwarven
the
kinds.
game was going longer than it was supposed to, and it didn't look like it was going to wrap up for a little while. So some improvising happened, and a unicorn that was summoned via Wild Magic Surge got the dead characters and made them into a flesh golem suit and took over.
And then the last remaining player, which was the barbarian Mogdar, took 2 potions of enlargement that he'd been hoarding, and we faded out on a kaiju battle.
Which don't rules lawyer that anyone. It's
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
allowed
say,
it. It's okay.
actually-
It's no.
Two
It is
potions of growth.
it is second enlargement. Yes.
A potion of enlargement, a potion of second enlargement. Yeah, it's a different,
Yes.
different potion.
Greater enlargement.
Therefore, that's awesome. That's brilliant. I had a battle royale recently where I won. I was it was an level 18
Big
battle royale,
surprise.
and
Ooh.
I was a monk. And way of the open hand
yeah.
monk,
Oh,
they can
yeah.
just spend
Yeah.
4 key points to become invisible. It doesn't.
Yep.
It's not broken by attacking. It's not broken by casting spells or anything. And while they're invisible, they're resistant to all damage.
Yeah.
What?
Yep,
My-
it's crazy.
I wanna
It's
play
crazy.
it, man.
And on top of that, we were
My
allowed
level
to take
monks
one
are
legendary
insane,
action
yeah.
and one legendary item, and I took an item that gives me an area of anti-magic. So I was just kicking ass. The only chance they had to take me down
Wow.
was like in the first couple of rounds when I had to take an action to set up my stuff. But they didn't think to take me down, and they were like, about halfway into the session, they were like, we should have all piled on Rob.
We have an issue.
We should have piled on Rob.
You see, the reason most people died in our one is we had a tier, whereas if you paid so much money, rocks fell on everyone and did damage.
Just anti-gravity rocks? Gravity rocks?
That's
That
what
would've been-
killed us all.
It would have been fun if I had said it. That would have been relevant to the one.
Someone-
Thanks for pointing that out.
It's all right. Someone posted a gif of Evandra getting the rock to the head and dying, and was like, "It's
The thing
just like," and I'm like,
It's
It's
such a
coming
callback,
true.
though. It's such a callback. Yeah, no,
exactly
we've
how
got,
it happened.
we've got like our own little personal meme maker, Degaus, who
Degaus.
basically just makes
Degaus.
our memes for us. So yeah, and he also actually paid to have those rocks fall on us too. So
Nice. You needed content for the memes, obviously.
yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, I best wrap it up because I've got less than half an hour before my next stream starts. I'm
Oh,
gonna be
God.
doing-
Oh my god.
Yeah, this is my day today, and it's today that I've just submitted my first what's it called, the
Boomer
offer for my
Patrol.
first house. And it was earlier today that I had a stream on Facebook to promote D&D Logic tomorrow, and I had a private game, and I also had a meeting with Satine Phoenix about something else. And so it's been a
Wow.
busy day. It's been a busy day, everybody.
It's been a big day.
Do we get a secret scoop of like episode 1?
It's episode 1. Episode 1 drops tomorrow about this time, 24 and a half hours from now, everybody. You'll get episode 1.
I'm so excited.
The title is Level 1 Backstories. And it's a comedy skit, so you can probably
ready.
guess the direction that it takes.
Yep.
So I want to say one more time, thank you all so much for joining me. It's an absolute pleasure to meet you all. I've watched every one of your videos, and I'm always grateful to see another one pop up in the YouTube. I'm really looking forward to season 4. If you guys want to see season 4 and you want it to be the best it can be, head to the Kickstarter, search for One for All. It should pop up there. It's called The Next Adventure, if I'm not mistaken. One for All, The Next Adventure. Make sure to back it. Every little bit counts. And if you want to see their stuff and you have no idea what we've been talking about all day, but you're just a fan of mine and you've been here just for the support, I recommend you now go over to YouTube and spend the half hour before my next stream watching some One for All videos. And if on the other side of things you're from the One for All fandom and you've come to my stream to watch this, thank you for coming and welcome along. I'm Robert Hartley. I'm a Dungeon Master full-time. I DM for the Viva La Dirt League guys over on Viva La Dirt League D&D on YouTube. And I also stream here on Twitch about 5 or 6 days a week talking about D&D content. On Monday nights, tonight, I do a behind-the-scenes episode where I talk about the latest episode of D&D that dropped and tell you like all the things that I was planning for them to do before they completely messed up my plans. all sort of behind-the-scenes knowledge. On Tuesdays, I do a Robert Reads, where I read some of the Monster Manual or some of the other D&D books. On Thursdays, I do an Ask Me Anything, sort of Dungeon Master tips and tricks sort of stream. On Fridays, I take my one day of not D&D related things, where I just play a video game. And then on Saturdays, I have an interactive D&D campaign here on Twitch called Twitch Tales, where I'm the Dungeon Master and you guys in the chat are the players, and you basically can hive mind control one character through the campaign.
That's really cool.
It's a very cool campaign. That they just fought a half dragon boar in the last episode on Saturday just gone, and they survived, thankfully, even though they're only level 4. And now they have a date. We finished with them going to a hunting store to replace a net that got damaged in the fight, and they got a date with the woman that runs the store. So we're going to be having an interesting session next time. So if you like Dungeons and Dragons and you've liked this content today, then drop a follow, and I'd love to see you guys around in future. As for the rest of you, where can people find you and follow you? Elliot?
Yeah, me. Well, obviously, Deerstalker Pictures YouTube channel. Please come and check out One for All if you haven't seen it. We'd really appreciate it, and we really hope that we can make even more episodes than we're already planning to make for season 4. That'll be really exciting. Also, one last thing from me, please, everybody, go check out Rob's D&D Logic series. I'm actually really excited to watch it. Everybody here, please go and comment about how awesome a collaboration between LCL and One for All would be.
Oh, Elliot, you slut.
You're on from your own show.
Southern Hemisphere nerds gotta stick together.
That's true.
Yeah.
Kendall, where can people find you?
Hey everybody, this has been Kendall the Human. You can find me on Instagram at Kendall the Human, or on Twitter at Kendall's Dumb. As for my address, send a $100 check to
$100 check?
Yeah, what age do you
only
via owl, if you could.
Laid out to cash.
Shh, I need checks. Don't ask why. Send a $100 check to the corner of your nearest castle, and I will appear. And from there, you will learn the first digits of my address.
Vinny.
What are you doing with that?
This man needs to go eat before his next stream.
Really quick. I kind of took a hiatus off Instagram and socials for the last 5 years, but I've been talking about it for a long time, but I'm coming back on like very soon, so I'm gonna start filling that back up. Otherwise, you can find me often outside Elliot and Goldie's house, just sifting through the trash. So, if you email Goldie, she'll give you her address. I guarantee it.
Sweet.
Don't talk about our footage like that.
Thomas, where can people find you?
Hey guys, I'm Thomas. I play Andres and Antonio, and you can find me at Forgeling on Instagram and Twitter on the occasion that I try and coerce Kendall to do something with me. Other than that, I don't know. I'll figure out something in the future. Pass it on.
Eva.
Hello, I am Eva Devore. You can find me on Instagram at Eva_Devore or Twitter at Eva Devore and Eva Devore on every other platform too. Apart from One for All, I also do burlesque. Sometimes the nerd stuff and the burlesque stuff cross over. And I've been doing a lot of that online lately because we are in lockdown and I can't perform. So if you like burlesque and D&D and also boobs, check it out.
Oops.
And finally, Paul. Where can people find you, Paul?
So you can find me at Full Cosplay on Instagram and here on Twitch as well. I am doing like just casual chats. Also, I streaming currently Alien Isolation, which is terrifying, but I'm having fun with it. Otherwise, yeah, I'm on Instagram. Sometimes I post cosplay content. I'm pretty slack about that, but you know, hey. Otherwise, yeah, I'm on Twitter, Full Cosplay 1. Yeah.
Nice. That's
Tom's still laughing about boobs.
Yeah, Tom's still laughing about boobs the whole time.
It's Vinny. Vinny's got this thing about. Okay, no, worry. It's out of time. It's like, oh, big old.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
I'm so sorry.
It's been
Try to hold
a
it
blast.
together, man.
Thank you very much for coming by, and I will see you guys another time, hopefully shortly. As for the chat, stick around, and I'll be back on in 20 minutes. See you then.
Eat something.
Poor thing.
Bye.
Bye.